The weather might be getting cold outside, ladies and gentlemen, but this NFL season is only heating up. And boy, oh boy, what a week 6 it was for us to talk about on this week's edition of your favorite NFL podcast that has been gracing your ears on YouTube and your eyes if you do end up watching the show, or if you just put us on for white noise in the background, which, to be fair, is probably how 60% of the viewing audience listens to us to begin with. Welcome to another edition of the Sports Agents of Chaos podcast. Myself, of course, leading the proceedings per usual is the Iceman, my soliloquy to open up the proceedings. Joining me per usual on this brigade that we go on every single week, this expedition, if you will. I would say effortless, but this actually requires a little bit of effort. Joining me on this one, of course, our games master at the bottom of the screen, here to grace us with some fun today. Our games master, Justin. Justin, how are we doing?
I'm muted. I'm doing well. Doing okay. How you doing?
Yeah, we're doing good, man. We're doing good. It's a Tuesday. God, it feels like a Friday.
It does, doesn't it?
Yo, seriously, what is happening? This entire the last 3 weeks, I get to Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm like, we still have more days. What is
I would take a weekend.
I'll take a 5-day weekend at this point. Dear Lord. Oh my goodness. But speaking of a man who probably half the time he's forgetting what day of the week it is, considering his life is oh so chaotic. He's built the palace of the Podfather is what I like to call it at times. He is in his specific podcasting place in his palace. The man, the myth, the legend, and someone has a funny dad joke for us to start off the proceedings this week. The Podfather himself. Podfather, how are you?
Hello. It's a little more palatial here than I expected it to be, unfortunately. But yeah, that's good. I had, it's good to be back after a week of chaos, a week of uncertainty, and just an overall week of bad football. Good football some games, but there were other games that were just atrocious. So, yes. And luckily for me, I spent the good portion of my Sunday, picking out a Build-A-Bear for my daughter for her upcoming birthday. So, that's more important. Yeah. So,
more than watching the Jets.
Well, I did feel kind of bad in a way because it was her first time at the mall, and it was her first time in an elevator, and she did not like the elevator. But because the Build-A-Bear was on the first floor, and we came in on the second floor because we had to run to my jeweler first so that my wife could get her stuff taken care of. So she wasn't a fan of that. But then when we got the Build-A-Bear, we went back in the elevator. She was literally clutching onto the bear super tight, and it was security. We're calling it the "It's Okay" bear because whenever we were in the elevator going up, she was holding on saying "It's okay, it's okay." So it's called the "It's Okay" bear. It's not a great name, but it'll do. She's not good at naming things. The polar bear that she has is still called polar bear. We'll get there.
One day.
Soon.
Once she hits her schooling days, the names will be flying out.
Oh yeah.
I'd like the Podfather. Things will get clever real quick.
If she's in, let's say that if she has inherited a third of his wit and his witty comebacks, first, it's going to be a cold day in hell for those teachers, and second, the pod wife is going to have a time in that household dealing with two.
Oh boy! I can already imagine the contracted publishing books of the pod daughter jokes of the week. That are going to be happening at some point soon. Oh boy! None of them are going to make any sense, but they're still going to be hilarious. So.
Indeed, to say the least. Right. Honestly, Rick and his daughter in the future are going to remind me. Justin, you definitely know this meme. It's been used in so many different formats where it's like the kid is staring at the wall. It's like, mom put you in timeout? Yeah, don't worry, I'll talk to her.
No.
How many minutes did you get? How many minutes did you get? 5? I got 20.
Yep.
20 more.
Yep. That's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen for sure.
So before we get the eventual pod daughter joke book, let's focus on a once a week kind of deal. Rick, you start off the proceedings for us. Tell us. Give us a good dad joke this week.
So a couple weeks ago, or maybe a couple times ago, I did tell you about the world map joke that we had, where all of that going on. A similar sort of thing. There's a buddy of mine from college that we were talking. Way back when. I still owe him a trip to Prague in the Czech Republic, by the way. Years ago. It's a long story that we'll get to, in the off season about what happened there with that. But we were talking about, places to go. He's engaged to be married and thinking about, like honeymoons and all sort of thing. And we're talking about places to go, and how he's throwing out some islands and everything. And we're having this chat, and a third friend comes up to us and says, "You know what the best country in the world is, I think, to go to?" And we're looking at him like, "What are you going to say now? Are you going to say some Pacific island?" He's like, "No, Switzerland. I think it's the best country in the world." And I said, "Well, okay, so what's the best thing about Switzerland then?" And he turns to me and he says, "I'm not sure, but the flag is a big plus."
I was going to say there was only so many places you could go with Switzerland. I was expecting a neutrality joke, but you have surpassed my expectations, sir.
Yeah. I will say this. I mean, there's nothing wrong with Switzerland. If you like the skiing and the chocolate and the banks where you'll keep your money for years after you die,
and the flag.
And apparently the flag too.
Flag.
Yes.
It's a big one.
Yes, it's a big one. It's a big one. And conventions like Geneva. Yeah. I think Werther's comes from Switzerland, if I'm not mistaken. The caramels. So they have a factory over there. I'd love to go over there and just see how they make the caramels, because they're actually very good. They're on my S tier candy list. It's not chocolate. So, Justin, you missed that conversation a few weeks ago too. But
I was going to say the
chocolate bars.
I miss all the good ones.
We went through a whole chocolate tier list on the show.
Did you end up seeing that one? That
no,
all gas no
I've been
brakes?
swamped. I keep putting it on, and then I keep not.
So mini all gas no brakes for Justin. Three Musketeers is the chocolate bar that you never reached for initially, but you're never sad or mad that you have that one instead of another one. It's a pretty solid candy bar.
It's a solid candy bar. I used to really go after them, and then as I got older, I was like, I'd rather have other candies.
Right, but you go, if it's there,
if someone handed me one, I'm not like, oh man.
Yeah, exactly. So,
do people still eat Charleston chews?
I
haven't seen one in forever.
My father used to love them, and I see them every so often. I can't rock with the vanilla ones though. It has to be the strawberry Charleston chew for me.
Gotta go OG. Strawberry's not bad.
Strawberry's not bad.
Like chocolate. But I wasn't really ever a huge chocolate guy.
Yeah. I was gonna say, Jerg over here is eating a Toblerone and having a good time, so
I was gonna say I can't even think of the last time I saw a Charleston chew in a store. I genuinely can't.
It's a long time ago. Yeah.
Oh, goodness gracious. Goodness gracious. Well, speaking of things that may or may not have happened a long time ago, Rick, you know that sometimes Justin loves to mess with our minds. First off, fantastic dad joke of the week. So from one joke to let's see if Rick and I will make jokes out of ourselves. Despite the good track record we have of this, it tends to be pretty close sometimes. We'll see how close we walk that fine line. Are we going to go on the edge of glory or taste defeat? It's time for another edition of the Games Masters Trivia. Justin's Trivia, where he tests our mind. Recent events, historical events. The Podfather and I get tested. We somehow, some way pass this sometimes, even surprising ourselves here and there. Let's see what Justin has to test our malleable minds on this edition. Well, really, we're kind of set in our ways when it comes to up here. The pod daughter has the most malleable mind left in between the three of us.
All right, guys. We're going to go modern today, and we are in week 6 currently, and I want to know how closely you guys are paying attention to the teams we have been breaking down. Guys, there's one team currently with a losing record and a positive point differential. There is one team with a even point differential. They are neither plus nor minus. They are at exactly 0. And then there are 2 teams with winning records that have a negative point differential. You have 3 guesses each. Let's see if you can name all 4.
I feel like I need to write this down. So wait.
One team with a winning record, but a negative point differential.
No, 2 teams with a winning record and a negative point differential.
So
one
2.
team dead even.
Yep.
And one team with a losing record with a positive point differential.
Oh, 2 winning negative, 1 even, 1 losing positive. Okay.
4 teams of interest.
I feel like I know who the even team is.
Let's hear it.
Is it the Atlanta Falcons?
That is a great guess. It is the Atlanta Falcons. They are currently at 100 points given up, 100 points scored, exactly 0 point differential.
Yeah, because there was that game where they lost 31-0 to Carolina. You take those 31 points away, it's a very nice 69 points that they've allowed this season. But
nice.
You can't give that one up. Okay.
So there's our even.
All right, Jared, you got your work cut out for you. You got your next guess. You know which one you're going for?
I should have written all this down because I keep freaking forgetting.
Okay, so there's one team with a losing record. That is in the
positive
plus side of points. There are two teams with a winning record. They're on the negative side of points.
Okay. See, part of me wants to try to hit the losing record, but as I'm starting to consider the losing record teams, I'm like, because my thing with the some losing record teams is like maybe they had a game early in the season where they won big and that was ballooning up their point differential for a while, but then I'm like, some of those teams are starting, like the Ravens, maybe after 2, 3, 4 weeks could have been in that conversation, but they've absolutely just been slaughtered ever since. Like the Bengals after maybe 2 weeks could have been in this conversation, but we know that boat has certainly left the shipyard, to say the very least. Long gone, baby, long gone.
Oh yeah.
So, oh my God. Trying to think. So Rick kept in the NFC. I'm trying to think of the NFC teams.
I was going to say, I think I have an idea about the losing team. So you want to try and stick with the winning record ones?
So I look at the winning record teams, and it's like, how much have they won by? How much have they lost by? So it's like,
yeah,
the Eagles are tough, right? Because have they blown anyone out this season, Rick?
No, they haven't. They haven't, but they were just blown out Thursday night.
So. That's the thing. If like think of the Eagles, they won 4 games by like every single one of those scores was 7 points or less. Now they've lost 2 games in a row, one of them being a blowout. I feel like that's got to be pretty close. I'm not saying that's my answer, but like just running through the Rolodex, I'm like, okay, the Eagles, the Commanders. Actually, no, the Commanders are a 500 team. Never mind. The Packers are weirdly above, and we know they have a positive point differential because they've lost 1 by like 3, tied, and the rest have been wins. So there's no way they could have the negative differential. Tampa's doing pretty good, to say the very least. Somehow Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen are MVP candidates and not Baker Mayfield, but what do we know? And you look at the NFC West, like that. I mean, that's a weird one because there are multiple pretty good teams in that division. So it's like
I don't think the Eagles are a bad shout, I'll be honest with you, because you're right. There were a lot of close games that they had that they won.
Right.
I think even if the Rams game hadn't had that blocked field goal return for a touchdown to end the game, they still would have won by 8 points.
Right.
And then obviously, if you take into account all the other games that they had that they won, I think it kind of evens out with the loss they had this week.
Yeah.
And then the other game was a loss anyway. So I feel like that one's a pretty decent shout.
Yeah, because the only other team are NFC West teams, but it can't be the Rams because they just won. They just won by 2 scores. That has to help their points. I don't think it could be the Seahawks. The only NFC West team could be San Fran, which, like, I don't know.
I mean, it would be hilarious if McCorkle Jones has a winning record and a negative point differential,
right?
Which actually is par for the course for him.
So I'll leave that for now, only because they're the only team that right now logically makes sense. And I am sticking in the NFC just because I feel like in the AFC it's more cut and dry. I feel like of these 4 teams, I feel like 3 of the 4 are going to be in the NFC, so I'm just going to stick in the NFC. I'll say the Eagles are one of my guesses.
All right. Well, the Eagles have scored 142 points this season.
Marron.
And the defense has given up 143. They are -1 on the point differential. They are one of the teams that we were looking for. You guys are 2 for 2.
Dude, that defense has fallen off hard.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not like the offense is like lighting the world on fire, although they're doing decently in points, I guess. But
yeah,
you were expecting them to score more, especially with the opportunities that it looks like they've blown.
I mean, they're not the defending Super Bowl champions. They don't look like it, so who knows? Maybe losing Kellen Moore was a big deal. Interesting.
It's almost like multiple people on the show have brought that up the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I wonder who that could have been.
So now we have one more team left, right? That winning record.
I feel we're on to something with your NFC West discussion there. So I'm going to let you work that one out because I feel like I have my answer for the team with the losing record that has a positive point differential. And I think it boils down to one game that they won that they absolutely destroyed their opponent.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to go with the defending AFC South Division champion, Houston Texans.
Ooh, the Houston Texans.
That's not a bad shout.
It's not a bad shot at all. The Houston Texans have scored currently 108 points, and they've given up 61. They're actually plus 47 right now. They are a top 5 team in point differential.
Dude, that like here, like the offense was the problem the first few weeks of the season. That
It was.
has been stellar.
Yeah.
That Ravens game helps.
All right. Yeah.
Ravens game helps big time, and also pitching a shutout against the Titans helps out too.
Yep.
So that was a big one.
Yep. Okay. I'm locked in. I'm locked in on the NFC West. The NFC West just makes too much sense for me because the NFC South, the Bucs have to have a positive point differential because they've only lost once, right?
Wouldn't it be hilarious if you were 5-1, but you were negative 12 points somehow?
Well, if you not saying this is the right team, but if you remember, the Bucs were the first team to win. To go, would they start 4-0 and have all 1-score games?
Right. But here's the thing: 4-0 with the 1-score games, but they lost a 1-score game, or it was close to a 1-score game. They lost by what, 9 or 10 to the Eagles? Like they didn't really get blown out, and then they just beat San Francisco. So
they came back against the Eagles. They were down a lot. I don't remember what the final score was, but that was a blowout at one point, and then all of a sudden he threw like 4 80-yard touchdowns in a row or something like that. Like it was crazy.
Because naturally,
Yeah.
so like. Just based off the final score, we have that's closer. I feel like the Eagles game and the San Francisco win kind of cancel each other out, and then you have all their other wins from that 4-0 start. Like I think they're golden. The like I said, the Packers and the Lions both have to be positive because Detroit has more than made up for like their 2 losses with their wins, especially the blowout wins that they had this season. And the Packers, again, they lost one game by like a field goal, and the other game was a tie. The 3 wins even make them positive. So they're fine. I realize I'm ignoring Minnesota, but I don't think it'd be Minnesota.
Can I get a fact check on something, actually?
Sure.
There's another team that's popping into my head.
I mean, I feel like Justin should be the fact checker, considering
I agree with that, but there's another team that's popping into my head that I swear could have a losing record, but also be positive point differential.
And who was that?
Because hasn't Arizona won and lost their games by 1 point, 1 score each as well?
Arizona has played a lot of close games.
Well, Justin can fact check for it.
That's weird.
I mean, I can't give you the scores.
No, but can't you just look at
the answer?
I was going to say, can't you just look at the overall standings?
You want to know if Arizona has a losing record? Yes, they do have a losing record.
Well, yeah. So, like, if the last team we're looking for is a winning team, then this doesn't qualify for us. Don't we have we?
No, you have to get both. You have to get the winning team with a negative point differential, and the winning team with a. I'm sorry. You need to get the losing team with a positive point differential and the winning team with a negative point differential. There's still 2 teams left.
Oh.
Yeah.
There's
one more team.
Wait, I thought it was 4.
There's 4 teams total. There was 2 teams with a positive record and a negative point differential. You got one of them.
Atlanta, Eagles.
And then there was one team
Atlanta's
with an even point differential.
There it is.
And then there was one team with a losing record and a positive point differential.
We're tripping over ourselves here.
You're tripping over. You guys are overthinking this.
I could have sworn though that Arizona also.
Is that confusing of a thing?
No. It's not that confusing, but I could.
No, we're stupid. That's why.
I could have sworn in my head that Arizona also has a positive point differential.
But I mean, if you're confident in it, like
that's
no.
Then you have 2 more, Jerk, and you're done.
No.
Okay, wait. Let me guess first.
Go.
I'm relatively confident it has to be in the NFC West because the Rams, I think the Ravens game, even though it wasn't as much of a blowout as it should have been, because of the Ravens game, because of the upset against San Francisco, I'm eliminating them. So it's between Seattle and San Francisco. And dang it, like. this is funny because I'm going against one of the points I brought up in All Gas No Breaks a week ago. I'm leaning towards San Fran because I literally feel I can't think of a time where I don't think Seattle's lost by 10 points or more yet this season. And so I feel like their wins cancel out the losses. Whereas San Francisco, I think both times they've lost by 10. No, they just lost to Tampa Bay by 10. And when they lost earlier in the season, didn't they lose to the Rams? Was that not a double-digit game at the end or no? Or, no, wait, that was a field goal game.
Yeah.
Frick. Did I just play myself?
Congratulations.
Okay, fine. I'll stick with my guns, even though I think I'm going to cost one of our picks here. Fine. San Francisco, lock it in for winning team with negative point differential.
Well, I'll let you know right now. Seattle has given up 117 points on defense.
I mean, that's not awful compared to what
and they have scored 166 points. They're actually second best team in the league in point differential right now at plus 49.
God damn Sam Darnold.
Shout out Sam Darnold, dude.
Plus 49. The San Francisco 49ers have scored 125 points and given up 128. They are -3 in point differential. And that is the other team with a winning record and a negative point differential.
By the thinnest of margins.
Yeah. So that's the two. So the Eagles and the 49ers both have winning records. I believe they're both 4-2. They are. And they both are in the negative in point differential.
You know, I could be wrong because I don't think this team finished with a negative point differential in the season because they started out even way better than what Philly and San Fran have. But like the concept of an amazing team with maybe not amazing, but just on record amazing, like above 500, but like you go game by game and you start to question them. It's that Steelers team from one of Big Ben's last years that started out 10-0, 11-0, and they lost 5 of the last 6 and lost in the first round of the playoffs.
They were pretty even. Yeah, I don't
towards
think
the
they
end
were
of the
negative.
season,
They were
right?
pretty even on their point differential.
Because all of their wins were relatively close, maybe like a big win here and there
when
when
you
they
win
surprised
10 games in a row, you have to go plus 10 immediately.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And then when you start to falter and you start to lose, like they had to have had at least one bad loss in there. Like that's what some of these teams are. Paper teams. Paper tigers, some would say. Rick, next one's yours. Yes. You're good. You're good. We'll play this out for you. So, Justin, so far, we only have one team left. So we have the Falcons. We have the Falcons. We have the 49ers. We have the Eagles. We've correctly predicated all that.
You've gotten the team with a even point differential at exactly 0. You've gotten the 2 winning teams with a negative point differential at the Eagles -1, and the San Francisco 49ers are currently -3 in their point differential. There is one more team that has a positive point differential and a losing record.
Aside from Houston, that I already named.
Right.
Houston has a winning record, don't they?
No, they're 2-3.
Are they? And they're that far ahead? Wow. They're so far ahead that,
They're so far ahead, Justin thought they were 500, I think.
You blew my question out of the water. They're 2-3, but they are plus 47.
Right, because the Ravens game was a cakewalk, and the Titans game was a shutout. That's what threw me because
they're so far ahead.
Yeah,
that I didn't even see them in the record.
Right. That's what threw me. That's what threw me about that because I thought there was because let me tell you why. Because Arizona, 2 of their losses I think are 1 point. I think they've lost 2 of their games by 1 point each. Their wins,
I could be wrong. I think the San Fran game was one of them.
Yeah. And so was the Tennessee game. They lost 22-21.
That's right. Oh, my God.
Of course, leave it to the Cardinals. And I think their wins were combined like plus 12 or plus 13 or something like that.
Right.
But their other 2 losses, I don't think weren't like large one score. They were like close one score games.
They've lost. I feel like all 4 losses have been 1 score or less for them.
Yeah, but not like 7 points, like 5 or 3 or something like that.
I'm fairly certain this Colts game may have been the widest loss margin.
But it was only 4.
Yeah.
Give me Arizona. Give me Arizona as the last team standing.
Arizona, okay. They have currently scored 130 points, and they have given up 127. They are plus 3 and 2-4.
Why is Jonathan Gannon so weird?
Why is that team just so like Gannon, Kyler Murray, that whole squad?
Well, Kyler missed this week because he was playing Battlefield 6. We all know that for a fact. So,
True.
Yeah.
True. Hey,
Wow.
Look at us, Rick. Look at us. Look at us getting this one. Genuinely shocked, honestly. Genuinely shocked. But it just,
we did good. We do pay attention because we have to, because otherwise we come here and talk about Harry Potter for 2.5 hours or Pokemon for 2.5 hours. The people demand football, and we give them crap.
We give them
we give them crap.
We give them rage, fury, irritation, humiliation, and a Vince McMahon impression. Apparently,
well, it's got to be like rage, fury, irritation, humiliation. Yeah, that's how I felt on Sunday morning, watching that disaster of a game.
And that game will be coming up here at some point, ladies and gentlemen. Because first off, fantastic trivia, Justin. I feel like Justin has a better shot at getting us on like the more recent trivia than the retro one.
You guys got one wrong. You got 5 straight answers because I didn't even know one of them.
Like I said, I didn't mean to step on you. Wait a minute.
That's on me. So no big deal.
See, we help each other out. In this podcast.
Yeah, we do good.
Help each other out, and one of the ways we help each other out is we decide: is the person presenting takes this week, are they onto something, or do like very much most of the football watching audience? Yeah, pump the brakes, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this week's edition of All Gas No Brakes, ladies and gentlemen, where one of the three of us is selected by the powers that be in the hashtag SAOC power structure, which is above us. Yes, there are people above us in this power structure, believe it or not. Not to the moon, slightly lower than that. And each week, one of us is brought to trial of fire, and we give a set amount of takes based off, predominantly this past week of the season, but it builds. This builds over time. We're not, tunnel vision thinkers when it comes to our football stuff. We are looking at the wide scope of things. As I told Justin last week, it's not, one single lens. It's a whole kaleidoscope of knowledge that we intake and put into our takes for All Gas, No Brakes. Once again, never had a kaleidoscope growing up. This saddens me. Now, as it was the Podfather, then me, then Justin, then the Podfather, then me. Now we know whose turn it is. It is the Games Master turn. So, Justin, you will be the presenter this week. Lead us into each of your takes one by one, and Rick and I will decide, well, if we agree or not. That's kind of the basis of it.
All right. So, let's start with number one, and we'll just get it out of the way. This is the worst Jets team of all time. Worse than the Coach Ted era. Who had more net passing yards than Justin Fields this week? Raise your hand. Yeah, okay. This is the worst.
Sienna, put your paw down.
Of all time. Is this all gas or no brakes? Or I guess it's all gas or pump the brakes, because all gas, no brakes, same thing. I'm just noticing this now. It's only week 6. Go on.
Well, it's taken from a wrestling trope, but it's kind of funny in that way.
Is it not just for this show to have a segment where half of the segment name doesn't even make it to the title?
Yes. It's the trivia at home. That's basically what it is.
We're not called the sports. We're not called the sports agents of organization.
We're close though.
Plus, SAOO just does not have the same ring to it.
Okay. This is the worst New York Jets team of all time.
See, I'm not a diehard hardcore Jets fan, so I don't know the complete lore and pain that both you guys and your forefathers before you have.
So the Coach-Tide era was a 1-15. It's a little bit before Rick and I. We were alive, I think.
We were,
but I don't remember watching it so much.
I'm willing to bet both of you heard your. I'm willing to bet both of you heard your parents.
When was it? 96.
96. Well, remember he actually coached in '95 as well. And in '95 they were 3-13. Yeah. And then he went 1-15 the next year.
Yeah, so you were 4-5.
Yes,
I was.
But I still remember it vividly. So
I don't.
No,
I don't. I've lost way too many brain cells between now and then.
That's fair. That's fair. You're allowed to.
Yeah.
But to call,
I will personally, real quick, just for me, and I'll let Rick, because he's definitely more the historian on the Jets, like in regards to like comparison to me. I mean, I'll go all gas on this one, just because even for me, like if I just give the comparison shopping, even forget the coat tight era, if I just give the comparison shopping to the Jets football I have seen in my last 17, 18 years of sentience, because I'm gonna be real with you, like pre-10-year-old me was kind of dumb. I'm being nice when I say kind of. Like, I can't think of too many Jets teams, even the last 15, 16 years that were on this one. Like, yeah, there have been bad Jets teams. There's been like 3-13s and like 4-12s or 4-13 now with like the current win-loss format. But like this Jets team, it's just like they find new ways to disappoint you and lose every week, and it's somehow more of a gut punch week after week after week. Like, at least in previous Jets seasons, they kind of followed a script. There's no script on these Jets losses. Every single Jets loss this season has been lose on last second field goal, score what should be the winning touchdown, then lose at the final second, lose in a blowout, lose with the backup quarterback having to come in because the starter got hurt, lose with the starter coming back next week. What in God's green earth is this team? And lose in, like Justin said, right? Everyone, raise your hand if you had. We could never get a viewer for the rest of this show's history, which we don't want that. Please watch the show. But we could never get a viewer for the rest of the time we ever do this podcast, and we will still have more viewers going forward than there were passing yards this past week, net passing yards for the Jets this past week. How? So yeah, I'll say that I'll just go all gas on this one. This team is on track for the first overall pick.
The problem is with that thinking is that you're not taking into account the fact that there's a lot of talent on this team that is just not being coached well enough. So to me, I say pump the brakes because it's a bad Jets team because the coaching is not very good. But I still take Justin Fields over Cam Ward. I still take Justin Fields over, Jacoby Brissett.
Why?
I think he has a better upside when he's allowed to
maybe
kind of.
Jacoby Brissett, but why Cam Ward? Cam Ward's a rookie.
Cam Ward's terrible. Cam Ward's awful. Cam Ward is the.
He can improve. Justin Fields has been in the league for 8 years.
Okay. All right. Fine. I still take Breece Hall over the majority of these running backs in the league. I still think that he's a talented running back. When Garrett Wilson's healthy and when he's able to, play on offense, I take him over a good amount of wide receivers that are there. The defense is still pretty good. When Jermaine Johnson's on the field, he's a solid enough player. Sauce Gardner is one of the top corners in the league.
He's had a rough year this year.
He has. Jets fans and Jets historians will remember there was a time from 1975 to 1977. They went 3-11 in all 3 seasons. So, look, the seasons kind of go up and down, right? You ebb and flow. You do well, you're bad. You do well, you're bad. But when you do bad, you're supposed to come back the next year and be better. But that's 3 straight years where they just were the same record year in and year out. And yeah, the Kotite era was bad because for some reason they thought Frank Reich was still a good quarterback. He wasn't a good head coach, but he was not a great quarterback either. And then there was the Rick Myrer and the Neil O'Donnell disaster. But don't forget, Justin, in your lifetime, don't forget 07 when Justin McCarrans was the wide receiver 1, for Chad Pennington and Brooks Bollinger. There have been some lean years. There is talent on this team to supplant some of those bad games and those bad teams. The coaching is the problem here. The coaching is non-existent. But the talent on the team, it's not the worst Jets team of all time. It's just the worst hand they've been dealt for a coach who just doesn't really care at all.
I mean, outside of those top guys, there's nothing. There's really like 4 players on this team that are worth anything at this point?
Breece, Garrett, Sauce.
Quinnen Williams.
Yeah.
Quincy Williams.
He's out.
I know he's out, but he's still, I think the offensive line's fine. I know Fields got sacked a bunch,
but 9 sacks and 9 completions last week.
I didn't say good. I said fine.
That's not fine. That's fine to you?
No,
Again, maybe it's the quarterback play. Maybe he's holding the ball too long. Maybe he doesn't know how to
Well,
get rid of it.
we'll keep in mind too that what's the average amount of time from snap to pass in the league? About 2.5 seconds,
Something like that.
Yeah, Justin Fields had average of 4 seconds. He's holding on to the ball too long. It's the same thing with the Lamar Jackson principle that I always talk about with Baltimore. If he's dancing around in the pocket too long trying to make a play happen, the offensive line will let their guard down, pun intended, and then there will be a sack.
Which guard?
Exactly.
Anyways,
well, because here's the thing, Rick.
You're pumping the brakes on this one, Rick.
I am pumping the brakes on it.
Okay.
It's not the worst Jets team of all time. I do understand your point, but there's talented players on this team to overcome all that. Will McDonald as well. Will McDonald's a shining star for me for the season so far, I think.
I genuinely do wonder. I genuinely have to wonder because, like, technically, if there's 18. Actually, no, never mind. Because we're gonna have a week where we'll have Jesus Christ. We'll have all gas no brakes, but we're also gonna have the head coach hot seat meter. Like, I for some what a mega episode that's gonna be. Like, I think maybe 2-3 weeks in, we were like, Aaron Glenn, he could kind of be spared. I don't know if he's going to be spared anymore at this rate.
Will McDonald is one of two Jets that have more than one sack. He's got 2. The only other one is Quinnen Williams, who has 1.5.
Jesus Christ.
They have 8 total sacks, 0 interceptions, 1 fumble recovery. That's 1 turnover in 6 weeks. The offense is atrocious. And that's about all I have to say about that.
Yeah, it's honestly amazing. Like, an offense, like, the big deal is that, like, Justin Fields hasn't thrown any interceptions and, like, ball security is fine. But the problem is like an offense can make mistakes but not turn the ball over. That's kind of just the Jets' offense. Like, they're not going to lose a drive in terms of giving the ball back to the other team with an interception. They'll just lose the drive and have to punt the ball back. Like that's why I kind of get what Justin's saying, that, like, he's not saying this is the least talented Jets team ever. Like, this is a Jets team, like, for all the talent, well, for the talent that there is, that they should at least be respectable in these games. You just feel hopeless. Like, ever since week 1, I don't blame Jets fans for feeling hopeless. Like, that's where I get the conversation of worst Jets team of all time. That's where I think Justin is coming from on this one.
I mean, they've only been blown out in 2 games.
It is pretty common now at this point. If I'm watching a Jet game, the second the other team scores a touchdown, I know the game is over. Just 1. They can't catch up. They score their touchdowns in garbage time when the game doesn't matter and it's out of reach. The only game that was really close besides this week was the Buccaneers game, and it's because the Buccaneers shot themselves in the foot left and right.
Well, there's still the week 1 game with the Steelers. If Boswell doesn't hit a 60-yarder, they win that one.
They lost on coaching. It's not the Steelers won a 60-yard. They went for 2, and then because they got a penalty, and then they wouldn't have had to go for it on 4th down. They could have kicked a field goal to tie the game.
Agreed, but at the end of the day, too, it is Boswell hitting a 60-yarder that provided the final score difference.
All that being said, on to the next one.
Well, just to make my pain even worse.
Oh boy.
Number 2, the New England Patriots will win the AFC East this year. The current first place New England Patriots. And by the way, I wrote this question in the second quarter last night. Because I knew it was going to happen after the second quarter.
Yeah, and we'll get into more detail on what happened to lead the Patriots into first place.
By the way, also, since I did my research in point differential, not only do they have the same record, New England has the tiebreaker, they also have the exact same point differential.
Yep. So like here's the thing, because to help back up Justin's point here a little bit, like, here are just notable games that the Pats have left, right? Like, they got the Titans this upcoming week. Gee, I wonder which one of us is picking that game. Like, they faced the likes of the Browns. Like, they faced some decent teams in the Falcons and Bucks after that, but they still have to see the Jets twice. They're facing the Giants. They do have that one final game against the Bills, which is going to be in Foxborough. And, like, yes, they're at Baltimore late in the season before Christmas, but if Baltimore is really and truly out of it, which we don't know, obviously we don't have a crystal ball, but let's say Baltimore is really out of it, what is the worth of playing Lamar Jackson? what is the worth in playing Lamar Jackson in a game that doesn't matter for your season potentially? Like, if the Ravens aren't in the wild card hunt by then, he's going to sit there, not going to risk another injury that could even carry over into 2026. Like I see that for the Patriots. Whereas if you look at the Bills, I mean, death taxes, and they're facing the Chiefs in a regular season. We're only getting that for the 17th freaking year in a row. They're going to be facing the Chiefs in a couple weeks' time and start November. They're facing the Buccaneers as well. The Texans could be a dangerous, sneaky matchup in Houston by the time we get to that game. The Steelers are weird, but they have a good defense. And this is the biggest one. First game of December for the Bills. I know it's in Buffalo, but if Joe Burrow is back by then and the Bengals are competing for the postseason, I mean, Joe Burrow has waltzed into Buffalo, and he's led the Bengals to beat them before. That was in the playoffs. I see something like Justin's cooking with some gas with this one.
Buffalo has to play Philadelphia, too, in the second last week of the season. So that's going to be a doozy of a game right there.
And right now, there is no guarantee that either side will clinch their division by this point.
The only thing that's keeping me from going full gas ahead on this one is just the fact that there's still a lot of youth and inexperience on this Patriots team, for me to say it's going to be their division. I mean, I'm still not as comfortable anointing Drake May the division winner here, because I do think that while Buffalo has a harder schedule, I see them rising to the occasion in some of these games. I can't say for certainty that I see that with New England. I'm not sure I can say that for certainty with some of these games. I think there will be some trip ups. I think New England has some youth and experience, some growing pains to worry about, whereas Buffalo is the constant presence here. I do think it'll be close. I can see it being a game apart. And you know what? I can see this being a 4 or 5 playoff matchup. Just a question of who's hosting it.
Kind of similar to what it was in Mac Jones' rookie season, honestly. Like, this is almost a similar script. At one point, the Patriots tied and took the lead in the division, and it was later on in the year where Buffalo ended up regaining it, and these two teams faced in the postseason. We might be... Can the NFL script writers, can they stop copying past scripts? Can they come up with some new material?
No, because how many years in a row have the Jets played the Broncos? It's like you said 17 for the Bills Chiefs. It's been 22 for the Jets and Broncos at this point.
Seriously. I mean, from the sounds of it, looks like Rick is going to pump the brakes on that one. I'm willing to go with Justin a little bit. Let's put some pedal to the metal on this one.
Don't say you're going with me on this. I don't claim it. This is just a prompt, okay?
Oh, you're supposed to have somewhat belief in this.
I'm not rooting for this, Jared. All right.
Well, whatever. You're going to be in the passenger seat with me. We're going to be in the video game. We're going to go flat out on Eau Rouge. Justin will hopefully not crash into the barriers very badly. We'll drive the W11 all the way on this one.
All right, guys. I have a scenario. I gotta post for you now. It's 5 years ago. All right. COVID's not really a thing yet. We don't really know what's going on in the world. Everything is normal, and someone comes to you and says,
well, technically 6 years ago, but I see your point.
I've had a vision of the future. And Sam Darnold, Daniel Jones, and Baker Mayfield are all going to be top 5 MVP candidates in 6 years. What do you tell this person? Because prompt number 3 is Baker Mayfield is currently the front runner for MVP. Now, statistically, he is top 5 in most major categories. He's not leading in any of them. But I will want to posit you this. 1, they are 5-1. 2, they have lost a litany of starters, including his top 3 receivers in Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, and now Emeka Egbuka, the rookie sensation that has been lighting them up.
Yep.
He has also lost his starting running back the last 2 weeks in Bucky Irving. They have lost multiple offensive linemen. And Baker Mayfield puts the ball in the end zone game after game after game. He has 12 touchdowns, 1 interception. He's top 5 in yards with 1,500, about 120 off the lead with Matthew Stafford. He is having a fantastic year in Tampa Bay. Guys, Baker Mayfield is the current frontrunner for MVP.
I am all gas. Mercedes W11, Red Bull RB19, McLaren MP44 on this one. Like best, fastest, let's go. Like I noted this earlier. Like, yes, Baker Mayfield should be the front runner. It should. I don't care if Patrick Mahomes finally had a good game against a good team this season. I don't care that Josh Allen is tied for the lead in his division right now. Baker Mayfield is 2018 LeBron on the Cleveland Cavalier dragging a team. It's not a sorry excuse for the team unlike that 2018 team. It is a team that is the walking wounded right now. And the walking wounded would be like, we're not that badly injured, are we? Like, this team, if the Bucs were an army regiment, the entire team would go to the Wounded Warriors ward at this point. Like, this team is broken. This team is battered. This team bruised would actually be an upgrade for a majority of these guys. He has lost literally everything on the offensive side of the ball, and Lord knows when the defense is going to start dropping like flies. And let's be real here, while we have some respect for – actually, the defense has also taken a hit this season because Kalijah Kancey, one of the clear interior defensive linemen for this team, I believe he's out for the season, if I'm not mistaken, or at least majority of the season. That happened after the first 2 weeks. So the defense has lost weapons. The offense has lost weapons. The offensive line, he's losing guys. Like we said, a guy who we all predicted to be top 3, top 5 in running back performance this season has not been there. Look, all due respect, I know he's not as bad as what he was in his first tenure. Coaches tend to improve for the most part, but Todd Bowles is not this offensive genius mastermind. He is not Sean McVay. Baker Mayfield, year after year after year, gets a new offensive coordinator. He is going to make this current offensive coordinator become a head coach somehow within the next 2 years. Yeah, Baker Mayfield should be the MVP. And I'm sick and tired of the fact that we're just going to default give it to somebody else. There right now is not a skill position player that is having the kind of season that should usurp a quarterback. And for going to give it to a quarterback, okay, Patrick Mahomes is doing good. Cool beans, bro. Like, Baker Mayfield is the MVP. If the valuable part is worth anything in the award name, there is no quarterback that is the reason that their team is out of the is more wins than losses right now than Baker. Because if it's a league average quarterback there, this Buccaneers team is below 500.
Did anyone see that? Did anyone see that video, by the way? Or I'm sorry to interrupt you, Jerry. Of when Tez caught the touchdown. Tez. Oh my God, I can't think of his
You're good. We just gotta call him Tez.
That's true. He caught the touchdown, and they started chanting MVP. And he goes to the sideline and started asking his teammates. He's like, "Yo, I know that was a good catch, but I haven't done anything this year. Like, why are they chanting? I appreciate it, but I'm not the MVP." They go, Baker's the one that threw you that ball, right? It's like, oh.
They have to tell him. It's like, they're cheering that for Baker, right?
Yeah. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No. I was basically done. I'm Baker should be the MVP this season, and I'm sick and tired of us it's this weird thing. We don't want to give it to someone that's not the standard status quo. Baker Mayfield is the MVP, and if he's not the MVP, Sam Darnold's the MVP right now.
Over Daniel Jones.
I need 2 more weeks of Daniel Jones.
The highest scoring team in the league, Daniel Jones.
I need 2 more weeks of Daniel Jones. That's my look. I'm being nicer to Daniel Jones now than I've been in the past. Give me credit.
There's a name you're forgetting.
Which kicker am I forgetting?
No. Which is why I'm thinking
Puka's hurt right now, so it's not going to be him.
I know, but as good as a season as Baker's having, I think that through all the things that we thought about Stafford going into this year, that he was going to be done because of the injuries and whatnot. The start
of the last 6 years, though.
Yeah, I know, but the start to this season has been really good for him. I just want to give him his flowers, not his Zay flowers, but his actual flowers, because
he would love his Zay flowers right now.
I think he would too.
Well, listen, they still got Devontae there, who was playing pretty well.
Yeah,
I'm not so worried about Stafford without Puka.
Yeah,
not yet. At least we'll see, but not yet.
Okay, I'm not quite ready to anoint Baker the front runner yet, but I will say this: he's been very impressive, and I want to see what he does this week.
Who are you talking about? Was it Stafford? Was the other guy?
Mayfield.
No. Before that, you said there was another guy that we were.
Stafford was the guy I was thinking, just because of because what's the problem that we always talk about when it comes to the votings and everything like that? It's AP writers who don't know their ass from their elbow. They see Pat Mahomes and Steve Armstrong saying, "Well, he must be the MVP. He's always on TV. Obviously, duh." I want to see what Baker does against this Detroit Lions defense this week. I really do. I think
if Tampa wins that game, he's the MVP of the season. Like you
no
could just
question about it.
sign it, deliver.
Well,
right
the
there.
MVP this
No
season so
question
far.
about it.
Again, this is week 7 we're talking about.
Because here's the thing too. It's not just Irving being out, Egbuka, Evans, Godwin not playing to his full potential. Jalen McMillan, I don't think has seen the field at all this season so far. He was a big target last year for them too.
He was supposed to be the number 3 option going into this season.
Exactly. So he's relying basically on Rashad White, Sterling Shepard, and Cade Otton. A lesser-known quarterback, Justin Fields, sorry, Justin, would have just absolutely folded and, just gone away and died. But that's not what's happening with Baker Mayfield here. And it's a really good start, and it's a really good story. Give me one more week. I'm going to jump on the train, but give me one more week against a really sound Lions defense.
He's a shit game, and Rick's like, cut him!
No,
Get him out of here!
He is. Baker Mayfield is one bad game away from Rick saying he should be traded to the Packers, and then both he and Michael and Matt LaFleur should both be X'd out the league.
All right, Jared.
Come on.
Here's where I think I'm going to lose you, Jared.
I was going to say, I'm 3 for 3 with Justin so far on these days.
Because this is where I get real spicy. The Baltimore Ravens will still make the playoffs this season. Now, I know what you're thinking. It has been rough, and that defense has not been good. But this team is 2 fumbles away from actually being 3-2 right now. They've played 2 games without Lamar Jackson. They have a bye this week to get healthy, and then they have a schedule that the football gods have blessed them with. And if you bear with me, I'll bring it up for you. They will first play the Chicago Bears out of their bye week.
In Baltimore, which is key.
In Miami, in Minnesota, in Cleveland, home against the Jets, home against Cincinnati. Now, in that Cincinnati game, I don't know if Joe Burrow will be back by then. I think he might be. It's close. It's right around the time when they were expecting him to be back.
Yeah, it's very touch and go on if Burrow's going to be back on that
So,
one.
in theory, if they take care of business, there's a chance that they win 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of those 6 games, and they are now 6-6 going into the playoffs, where at the end of the year when they really turn it on. And then they play Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, New England, Green Bay, Pittsburgh. Not the easiest ending of the day, but as a healthier team with a little bit of confidence left, basically starting at 500. Guys, do the Ravens make the playoffs this year?
I was going to say, it's that middle portion of the season where, like you said, if they can get themselves back to 500,
take care of business.
If they could rip off a 6-game win streak, which, it's difficult to do in this league, but it's more than possible. We've seen it many a times.
They have the tools.
Like, here's my thing. Because, of course, this counters the point I brought last week of me. I'm thinking the Ravens are going to miss the postseason because I predicated it on a 1-5 start. And I think since the turn of the century, only 2, I think it was 2 or 3 teams since the turn of the century have made it to the postseason after a 1-5 start.
I'm not sure how many, but I know it's a low number.
I brought it up last week. I think that it's 2 or 3. I don't think it's higher than 3. My thing with my lack of faith in the Ravens right now, it's not like I don't doubt if Lamar comes back, like he will at least carry the globe, this offense back into the stratosphere it should be. I'm not going to question a 2-time MVP coming back into the fold and making his team better because, spoiler alert, that's going to happen when he eventually returns to the lineup. My issue is the defense. It just looks like it doesn't matter if they're healthy. It doesn't matter even if they're dinged up. Like this defense, say for this Rams game, which I'll give them a modicum of credit for. They performed way better in this Rams game than they did in previous weeks. But this defense has just not looked good this season. And yeah, like you can start to feast a little bit on these teams here, but I mean, you still have respectable offenses that you're going up against in this middle portion of the schedule. Now, I'm not saying they're going to get torn up for 30 points in some of these games, but you still have to hope one of your corners can cover Justin Jefferson. And I'm sorry, like Marlon Humphrey has not played like a number 1, like a top 5 corner in the league this season. I don't know what Jair Alexander has contributed to the team this season. He was supposed to be one of the underrated pickups for this team, just in terms of depth. Like Ben Johnson looks like he may have solved something with Caleb Williams. Like I don't know. I'm sold on the Ravens offense. Not sold. If the Ravens offense with Lamar returning had the Texans defense, I'm right here with you. I'm right smack dab in the middle with you. I think I need to take Rick's approach to this. I think I'm not vehemently pumping the brakes like with my take last week on it. I need to see this team back once Lamar is back, once they can get going, before I can really get behind this right now. Because I just think we've seen too much to the contrary at this point outside of Lamar that goes against them. Because honestly, because you mentioned the fumbles, Justin, those fumbles aren't on Lamar. Are we seeing the decline of royalty in Baltimore right now? I have to ask that question. It's a real question to ask.
Justin, you know I respect you, man. I don't want you to think that me basically telling you that your picks are trash is anything against you.
Well, that's technically not what we're doing.
So no. So let me try and conjure up the scenario like you're talking about here, because it's not just Lamar that comes back in Week 8; it's Roquan Smith that comes back in Week 8 as well. So you have like the champion of your defense, the number 10, if using a soccer terminology, of your defense, your captain basically on your defense, coming back as well for the Chicago game. Okay. I mean, I can see it. Part of the problem is the idea of how many teams they're going to have to jump to get to the playoffs at this point. Because we're not talking about them winning the division. I don't think they're going to. I think Pittsburgh's too far out in front. I could be wrong about that. But they're 12th right now in the AFC because they have the tiebreaker over Tennessee, Miami, and Cleveland somehow. And then they have to get to 7. They're 3 games behind Denver and Jacksonville and Buffalo and I guess New England, and I also guess the Chargers as well. They got to jump Vegas. I can see them jumping Vegas. They got to jump Cincinnati, which since he's in a bit of a free fall right now, again, they don't have Burrow until December, late November-ish. I can see them moving back. They got to jump Houston. Houston's starting to come around a little bit. I think they're a little further back than I'd like to be, but they're
Houston has the head-to-head win.
Correct. And then there's Kansas City at number 8.
Also with the head-to-head win.
Correct. I think the odds might be a little too stacked against them, but the question then becomes sustainability for the teams like Jacksonville and Denver and even Buffalo to an extent, New England.
Well, that's another issue because Buffalo also has the head-to-head against them. So that's 3
Right.
teams right off the bat that do have the head-to-head.
Correct. It's dicey. There is a pathway there. I can truly say that you're never completely out of it unless you're the Titans or the Jets. Then you're absolutely out of it. But they almost have to play a near flawless remainder of the season in my book to get there. I'll go tepidly in the first gear gas on this one, because I do kind of foresee a way that they can still get in. They need to play perfectly the rest of the season in order to get there. They can't really afford any more. That's the other edge of the double-edged sword, though, is that they can't afford any more, collapses. And what is John Harbaugh known for in his tenure at Baltimore? Fourth quarter collapses.
I think the way that I view the Ravens season, I know Rick is going to just absolutely react to this because I'm going to find a way to make another F1 reference here. But when there's a close battle in like the Drivers' Championship, you need the drivers below you and your competitors to make some space in between you to help you out, right? Like this weekend, Oscar would love if George and Charles are second and third behind him in first because he gains more on Lando and Max. Like, it's like, yes, Baltimore has so much to solve internally and they need to solve their own problems. But like you said, there's 3 teams that already have head-to-head wins over them that are in the AFC. Ideally, you would love it if those 3 teams find a way to win their divisions because then you don't have to worry about that because you're not competing with them for wild card. But if the Texans are going to somehow win the division, they need to make up a massive gap against the Colts right now. So you need the Colts to stumble hard. You need Daniel Jones to regress like to a umpteenth degree from what he's done in his past years. You need the Chargers and or the Broncos to completely fall off the face of the earth this year. You need the Patriots, which I mean, this is probably the most likely of the bunch. You need this young Patriots team, like Rick was talking about before, to show that they're young, to lose games that should be easy wins for them. You need, like, this is the thing, like Rick was saying, you need half a dozen other teams in some way, shape, or form to either stumble multiple times or just outright self-destruct. Like, the problem with the Ravens is not necessarily can they solve their own issues. It's can the AFC cannibalize itself enough to where they could win the 6 in a row. And they're like, if they win 6 in a row, like, here's the thing. There is a legitimate possibility that they could get the 6 in a row wins that they need to be 7-5, and they might still be the 9th seed. That's a significant possibility with the conference this year. Like, this is where I struggle with them. They need half a dozen teams in that conference to just completely nosedive, and I think that's asking a little too much right now.
And here's the other problem too, that now that I'm looking at it again, you have 2 stretches where you're playing on short weeks. You get Lamar healthy for Chicago, and then they got to turn around and go to Miami that Thursday. You have him at home against the Jets. You got to turn around and go play Thanksgiving night against Cincinnati at home. I get it at home, but still. So you're relying on trying to get these guys healthy out of a bye week, and then you're telling them, hey, 2 games in 4 days. Go. It's challenging. I think the worst position in a team sport to be in is fighting for postseason when you have no control over it. To me, Baltimore has no control over their own destiny. Win all the games you want, sure, that's fine. But you got to rely on everybody else to kind of stumble ahead of you. And I don't know if I see that happening with every team that's ahead of them. That's the problem. But again, Justin, like you said, the schedule makers did them a favor by giving them easier opponents. Not necessarily easier schedule dates because, again, Amazon and NBC wanted them for Thursday night games. So there you go. That's the problem. So
yeah. It's the blessing and the curse.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is.
And I mean, like, it's truly a fair point. Like, once they're back playing and they win this first game back, these conversations are going to start. Then if they win the second game, the murmurs are going to continue. The murmurs turn into whispers. The whispers turn into rumors, and the rumors turn into a potential reality. Like, there is something here. Like, Justin's point in no way, shape, or form is it like it's not egregious in any way, in any conceivable way. It's more so like
the football gods tend to take care of teams that take care of business.
Yeah.
The Ravens take care of business over the next 6 weeks. I don't think it's unheard of for them to be, at the very least, in the hunt for a wild card spot. And you'll see, we don't know how that division is going to go. Aaron Rodgers is older. You never listen. I'm not banking on him going down anytime soon. He's played great this year.
Yeah.
You never know what's going to happen with that Steelers team.
To be fair, that Steelers team has had a bad defensive game or two. Like, if the Ravens have this run, like, honestly, the key might be they need this more than anybody else. They need the Steelers to start dropping games, because if the Steelers start to drop games, then by the time Baltimore comes back, they could be like 7-5 or 6-6, and the Steelers could be 7-5 or 8-4, depending on the situation. Yep. And you got 2 games against them in the back half of the season. Lamar's supposed to be back for the both of them. Game on. Like, division is on.
Yeah. And we know for sure that the AFC North, more than any other division, loves to cannibalize on itself. They do. They just destroy everybody else unless you're Cleveland, and then,
And I mean, the fact that Joe Flacco's back, let's be real, he's going to somehow have a revenge game against the Steelers in there. He's going to screw up the Steelers season like he has in years past.
I mean,
Joe Flacco's best game of the season coming against Pittsburgh.
Wouldn't it just be the most ironic thing to have an old friend, an old Super Bowl winning quarterback, help you out in this final run by destroying the rest of the division so that the team that he came up with can win the whole thing?
It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, I know that's not the case for the schedule, but like, it would just be the most hilarious thing in the world if Joe Flacco came out, he puts up like 4 touchdowns and no picks against the Steelers, and then the next week it's like, oh no, I threw an interception to Marlon Humphrey. oh no, I missed my center oversnapped it over my head, and now the Ravens have the ball with like 10 yards to the end zone. Like,
oh no, it's Roquan Smith coming after me. Let me kneel down so he can have a better time just tap me for a sack instead,
seriously, man, seriously. So it should be something to say the very least. And
oh no, Evan McPherson, you want the field goal? I'll miss the holdup. Oh no, why am I even the holder?
Oh my goodness, yeah, right. No, it should be interesting to say the very least. I mean, I think that was a solid rotation of takes for Justin there on that one. I think like all four. I mean, I know he hated that second one. It would be a nightmare come back to life for him if the Patriots somehow find a way to revive themselves to a division win.
I think he hated both of the first ones, to be honest with you. One because like you said, the nightmare of it. One because the abject humiliation of the Jets season so far is just
Yeah, Justin is like, I'm going to rip the Band-Aid off, and I respect him for it. So there's that.
And that's why after those two, he's off camera now crying in the corner while we can talk about his team.
Yes, while Justin recovers from what was an emotional roller coaster of decisions that he had to bring forth to us for this week's All Gas No Breaks, we can start the analysis / recap of Week 6. Rick, in the first game of the week, you suffered. In the first game of Sunday, Justin suffered. So it was kind of suffering for the both of you for different reasons, to say the very least. Thursday Night Football, on a quaint Thursday night where some pretty what's up, Justin? Where pretty quality hockey was occurring, where the San Jose Sharks completely blew a game against the Vegas Golden Knights. The Philadelphia Eagles.
Hey, it's a football podcast.
The Philadelphia Eagles. There have been a bajillion other sports references at this point in this episode. But the Philadelphia Eagles blew an easy game, or what should have been a chalk game, against the New York Football Giants. Jackson Dart played a pretty good game. He continues his up and down early rookie campaign. Cam Scatabo is just showing the fact that he will end up in a wheelchair 15, 20 years' time because that dude does not care about his own health and well-being.
But he was worth the number 10 overall pick in our mock draft, just saying.
You know what? Hindsight 2020, he maybe should have gone 10th overall because what a weapon Ben Johnson would have in the backfield.
I don't always hit on Tanner McKee, but when I do, it's Cam Scatabo.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one. I don't know if we could sell that on a shirt. That might just have to be
I think we can.
line.
Yeah.
Add that to the growing list of shirts that'll never get published. But the Philadelphia Eagles, just a tough one to the New York Giants right there. They lose in MetLife. I almost said the Meadowlands, but I know. They lose in MetLife, 34-17 game. The Giants, they kind of had them in a stranglehold. Like it inevitably became close. The Eagles retook the lead in the second quarter, but the Giants just took it, and Cam Scatabo finishing drives. And this one, to say the very least. I mean, credit to the Giants' defense, like 3 sacks against Jalen Hurts and co. Brian Burns remembered he could play football pretty well, and he got 2 sacks for himself. And yeah, what a victory for the Giants on Thursday Night Football. Like, this is kind of one of those, could they be an interesting team going forward kind of wins? I don't know if they will, but this is that kind of game that at least makes you have to think, not twice, 1.5 times when it comes to the Giants going forward. But what did you guys make of the Thursday night affair in New York or in New Jersey?
It's so funny because Giants fans that I know, they hate Brian Dable. They want to see this team do well, but they hate because it's going to keep Brian Dable around for another year. Oh my goodness! Because when Cordell Flott has a 68-yard interception return, all bets are off. Basically, everything's doing now. Yeah, listen, the Giants, the rookies are injecting a lot of energy into this team in a surprising way. You have not just, Scatabo and Jackson Dart. He didn't have a big game this time, but Theo Johnson has been a major producer for them as well out of that tight end spot. I think that's been a real big thing on their side. And look, they're doing it without really a whole lot from Abdul Carter because, we thought that he was going to be a bit bigger than he has been, but they're still doing pretty well with that. It's interesting to me that I think the larger story coming out of this is that idea that I think I brought up in the All Gas No Breaks that I think we did a couple weeks ago, Jerg, that Philadelphia was a fraudulent 4-0 because they ain't impressive. I mean, that Saquon was bottled up, but he wasn't really used that much because when they were down by a lot, they weren't running the ball that much.
Right.
And so it led to, again, Jalen Hurts having to throw the ball. And it's so interesting to me that on a week where, or a couple weeks where AJ Brown and Devontae Smith are both grumbling and they're both not happy, and they need more targets and they want touchdowns. It's Dallas Goedert finding the end zone instead. It's really interesting to me that what's going on there, and I'm a little worried if I'm an Eagles fan. I mean, granted they do get the Giants again in 2 weeks at the home turf, so maybe this was just a fluke. But I gotta be honest with you, if the Giants sweep the season series with Philadelphia, which is not inconceivable, I would be shocked if Nick Sirianni is not, part of our hot seat meter and part of a lot of other discussions. I get it because, Super Bowl winning coach, but not only would you have let the Giants beat you twice in one season, it's the Giants with a rookie quarterback.
Yeah. That is the thing. Jackson Dart does need to prove himself because so far he's only won at home. And now it's going to be back-to-back weeks for him. He's going to be in Mile High, so it's always tough playing. It's tough playing conditions for veterans, let alone going to be for a rookie quarterback and a rookie running back who runs like he will never run out of breath. But the problem is, in Mile High City, you're going to run out of breath eventually, and then you're going to be in Lincoln Financial in what is bound to be a raucous environment, to say the very least, for the Eagles. And this Eagles team is going to. They're still on the road. They're going to be in Minnesota for this upcoming Week 7. So this is going to be their first home game in a couple weeks. That's going to be a feisty, frisky home crowd that's going to demand a win. That's a tough playing environment for a rookie. I mean, I am with you. I was with you when I brought it up even a week or two before that there was something up with the offense, and something has been up with the offense. And yes, we all gave the Giants credence. They're a respectable defensive team. They didn't necessarily play like it the first 5-6 weeks of the season, or 5 weeks or so of the season. And then Week 6 happened. So it seems interesting to say the very least. Justin, before we move on, because there was totally in no way, shape, or form a game in London that happened on Sunday, so we can fly past that. What are your thoughts about that Eagles-Giants game before we go on to the Sunday slate?
It was the first time that two Giant rookies had rushing touchdowns in the same game since the 70s. When was the last time they beat the Eagles?
It's been a while.
I wasn't expecting a close game, let alone a blowout from the Giants. I mean, there was a lot of questionable, I think, decisions for the Eagles. I thought Saquon came off the field a lot after having back-to-back 10-yard runs.
Yeah,
but it was a great win for the Giants. It almost just magnifies the loss from the week before, where they just could not seem to get anything right against the Saints. So I'm curious to see if they drop the next one. Who they play this week?
The Broncos in Denver.
Yeah, so we'll see.
It's going to be tough. I mean, I will say, to the Giants' credit for what they improved on this week that they weren't able to do against the Saints is they actually, this concept called finishing your drives. You don't need to finish a drive with a 22-yard post route to your number 1 or 2 receiver. You don't need your running back to break off a 30-yard scamper into the end zone. You just need the right guy to just pound the rock into the end zone. And look what happened. So it should be interesting to say the very least. Can the Giants defense continue to hold this trend up? Can this offense, being led by 2 rookies at this point, because Malik Neighbors is out for the rest of the season, if only Neighbors was healthy like that, I think that would make him a little bit more dangerous here in these upcoming weeks. But just no number 1 receiver is still going to hurt Jackson Dart a little bit here. But it's going to be interesting. Then on the Eagles end, they need to figure out this offense. They need to figure out the vertical passing attack. They need to figure out how to give Saquon Barkley the ball. He's only had 1 game this season with 20 carries or more. 1. I know you maybe want to save him a little bit here and there. Saving him is not going to do any good if you're going to be a low seed in the postseason and you got to fight your way up, right? It's something to say the very least. So we'll see what happens there. The Broncos won on Sunday. That's about it. They didn't necessarily look good. Sean Payton and Bo Nix need to figure things out offensively. I don't think that's a hot take to say the very least. They've been decent this season. They've had good games. They've had rough games. That was a rough game. They escaped with a win. You got to do that sometimes to get wins in the National Football League. So
Nick Bonito, man.
Dude, he's putting on a Defensive Player of the Year caliber season. He is phenomenal, to say the least. One of the most underrated pickups at the time. No one thought anything of him when the Broncos got him. And now he has quickly become the second star of that defense, because we know Pat Surtain is kind of the number 1 guy. But you might have back-to-back years where the Broncos see the Defensive Player of the Year, and it's not going to be the same player. Which is
can I just ask one question about that game before we move on? Sure. And I have to ask Justin, as a fan, what was going through your head at the halftime break, like at that sequence?
So I didn't watch. I was working.
Oh,
So
good for you, Ben.
I didn't have a specific, but I do remember looking at my phone consistently throughout the day and being like, "What is going on?" Like I just didn't understand the things that were happening. Didn't make any sense. Honestly, I needed play-by-plays. Like I would text my dad or my brother and be like, "So, how are we at this point?"
It felt like a really bad Spider-Man meme. After the fake punt that they ran, and they was like trying to either going to go for the Hail Mary or not. Justin Fields was like pointing at Aaron Glenn, who was pointing at Garrett Wilson, who was pointing at Justin Fields, who was pointing at Tanner Engstrand for some reason.
Well, but like,
and then the clock ran out.
They had 14 yards and scored twice.
Yeah.
How? That's their only turnover of the year. That's how. And they had a good run back, I found out. None of it made sense. Negative 10 net passing yards and still have the ball at the end of the game with a chance to win is also absurd. Of course, they did nothing with it, and he got sacked on there 2 times, I think it was.
Yep. I do also thoroughly enjoy the narrative that Aaron Glenn started off with the season, where if you make a mistake, you're going to get cut, and the only guys that have been cut have been the 2 kick returners that didn't do their job properly. When like Michael Clemens has been a total numpty, and the offensive line is bad, but we can't cut those guys. But if you dare to drop a kick returner, fumble a kick returner away, you're on the unemployment line, kid.
If you make league minimum, you'll be cut. If you're making $10 million or more, your job is safe. That's the way it goes. Let's continue the conversation here. The Cleveland Browns, good game overseas with Dylan Gabriel, right? Previously, not so good of a game in Pittsburgh on this one for Co. After a career game for Judkins in that Minnesota Vikings game, he's had a pretty good start to the season, relatively speaking. Easily the worst game of his career. Just 3 yards a carry. Only got 12 carries in this one. Dylan Gabriel had to throw the ball 52 times. That's not a recipe for success for a rookie quarterback, to say the very least. Harold Fannin Jr. had a great game. That's about it for Cleveland on the week. The Steelers, they just won this game kind of how they've won so far. Like, Aaron Rodgers isn't having to do anything crazy. He's having to perform at least relatively well. 235 yards, 2 tutties, 66 or a little over completion percentage for him. DK Metcalf got a touchdown. Darnell Washington was in this one. Jonnu Smith only had 3 catches, which I'm really surprised with Arthur Smith. I would have thought Jonnu Smith was leading all tight ends in receiving yards, which is the Arthur Smith play call method. But no, it's just another respectable, not all world performance on this one. Jalen Ramsey randomly had 2 sacks in this game. All right, then. Rick, I had the same look in my face as I look at the stat sheet to confirm that, because I'm like, wait, he has what now? He has more sacks this season than he has interceptions. And he has tied his career high. Look at Jalen Ramsey trying to put himself in conversations. I don't know what kinds of conversations, but some kind of conversations. But no, in all seriousness, this was the superior team on this one, defeating the team that they should obviously beat. The Steelers have struggled in past seasons to win these kinds of games handily. It was relatively ugly, but it's AFC North football. The Steelers go out their way. I think we could maybe give it another week or 2 before we really have any real conversations about the Steelers. More so about the Browns. So, boys, I know we criticized them the weeks prior. The Shedeur Sanders maybe have a point right now. Is he about to become the starting quarterback of the Cleveland Browns here in the next week or 2? Because, honestly, not a great encore performance for Dylan Gabriel in the offense.
It wasn't awful. Gabriel didn't throw 5 interceptions.
Has anyone thrown 5 interceptions this season?
Well, I mean, if anybody would, I think we know who would. Cam Ward, say hi. But I mean, what do you expect? What do you expect from Cleveland?
That.
Yeah, basically that. That's what you expect. You expect the Kirkovian leg of Andre Schmidt to kick 3 field goals, which he did, and the running game for Cleveland to not have anything happen against Pittsburgh's front line, which it didn't. So Gabriel's going to have to throw the ball 52 times if your running attack is only getting you 3.8 yards per carry. And the fact that he didn't turn the ball over is something. Like, baby steps.
I don't know. As a Jets fan, I've seen plenty of games where I was like, "Oh, he didn't turn the ball over," and they still lost by 2 scores. That's not something to me.
No.
You need to take a step forward. I know it's early for him, so it's not the end. It's not the same thing. But
okay, but
he doesn't turn the ball over next game, and they lose by double digits again. Is that something?
Listen, this is what I'm going to say. 2 games in, he's already a better pro quarterback out of UCF than Blake Bortles ever was. I think. It's a very low bar to clear, but it's still something.
Listen, Blake Bortles played in an AFC Championship game. I can't agree with you there.
Blake Bortles also had like a 30-plus touchdown season, I think. In like,
just saying.
But his name is Blake.
Okay.
Balake Bortles.
Balake Bortles.
Bortles.
Key and Peele, skid aside. I mean, look, it's tough. It's tough. Obviously, I'm making a joke here, but like, if you're the Browns, like you have so much time left in the season. This is the highway to nowhere. I mean, I think it's inevitable Shador is going to start. It's just a matter of time. Like they're going to showcase both the rookies because at this point they trade everyone. I mean, what did I see earlier? I think I shared it in one of the chats with us. Like, they're paying 8 different quarterbacks this season in some way, shape, or form. You might as well play the ones that you're actually actively paying on the roster. So, like, I'm not saying because he's bad. I'm just saying, like, Dylan Gabriel, he had a good first game. So-and-so second game. He does need to make improvements legitimately and just perform better if he wants to. I mean, now, granted, part of that is also, like, the play calling of Kevin Stefanski. Got to work on that a bit, too. Perennial head coach centimeter, it feels like, for us, to an extent. Tough times to say the very least. And to my point I made before about, has anyone thrown 5 interceptions this season? Well, Tua tried. And he came close in the Dolphins game against the Chargers. 3 interceptions for him in this one. Just barely broke 205 passing yards on this one. Jalen Waddle was perfect in the game. 1 for 1 on his passing, 8 yards, no touchdown though. But no, in all seriousness, like, it was a close game. But this is one of those weirdly close games. Miami and the Panthers have just, like, decided to be the weird teams this season. And the Dolphins, I mean, I got to give them consistency because they threw an interception on the first drive of this game. They threw an interception on the last drive of this game. They are nothing if not consistent for the most part. But the Miami Dolphins falter to the Los Angeles Chargers 29-27. And, I mean, we were talking about what the Chargers' running attack was going to be without Omarion Hampton and Najee Harris running back by committee. Well, next man up, Vidal, 18 carries, 124 yards for a nice 6.9 yards per carry. Nice. Justin Herbert, 264 yards, 2 touchdowns. I predicted them last week for a reason. This was a much-needed get-right game. They got right. They got the win. Kind of all that matters when you're the Chargers. How quickly is everyone in Miami going to be fired or released? Released here coming up soon. Or if you guys want to actually focus on the Chargers, you can do that as well.
Black Monday is coming.
And it's coming early.
Tank bowl.
The Chargers need to keep taking care of business, though. I think that's the important thing here. So we got to figure out how to continue this streak and not let it go. I know that they've always had been a perennially injured team, but this is a major season in Herbert's career. He's got to start having some sort of late round success, and rather also continued regular season success.
This is the perfect year for it. It is because
it really is. He's set up.
Mahomes is having a down year. Lamar's hurt. Burrow's hurt. This is the year for Herbert to do something. And they have a nice 3-headed attack on the wide receiver core. Johnson didn't play this past week, but McConkey looks like one of the premier slot receivers in the game. Keenan Allen's got that veteran leadership there, so they have to work out in their favor. And Arondé Gadsden the second looks like a great tight end for them. The Chargers with these tight ends, man, Antonio Gates and everything else, and now they have Disley and Gadsden. They're good, man.
Yep, Herbert.
I hate Jim Harbaugh, but they're good.
I feel like Herbert always does pretty good when it comes to his tight ends. He can get his tight ends, some involved in the game. And for McConkey, like, this was his best game since the season opener against the Chiefs. Like, he had 4 straight games of 50 yards or less, and now this one he breaks out for the 100 yards. And like you guys mentioned, Herbert right now just continuing, like, just kind of like he's lesser. He's not in the top 5. He's more like top 8, top 9 when it comes to these stats. But like, similar to like Baker Mayfield on the NFC side and the AFC, Herbert just like he's not wowing you necessarily on paper with the stats right now, but they're more than respectable. Solid touchdown interception ratio, pretty good yardage. Like he's limiting the mistakes, high completion percentage. He's on pace as of this moment for the second best completion percentage in his career.
Yeah,
like, he's doing a job.
And keep this in mind too when it comes to those tiebreakers towards the end of the season. This is not something that you can snooze at right now. The Chargers are 3-0 in their division already.
Yep.
And 4-0 in the AFC.
Yeah.
If it comes down to tiebreakers, they're sitting real pretty.
Yeah.
If they fall off when they solve those tiebreakers, they're sitting real pretty right now for a spot in the playoffs.
Yeah. One of like the key thing for them is the fact that their losses have come against NFC foes.
Mm-hmm.
So like that, obviously you never want to lose. But if you're going to lose on what's going to be like fourth in line for the tiebreakers.
Yeah.
Like they're winning the right games that they need to be winning right now. And they're fighting back against injuries. They're a solid performing team right now.
You can lose all 4 games to the NFC East and no one will bat an eye.
Well, I think some people will. But we sort of mentioned it earlier. Ravens, aside from the Puka Nacua injury, like Ravens lost. Not really too much to say about this. Matthew Stafford just had to do enough. 1 touchdown, 181 yards, nothing crazy. In that one, Kyron Williams, like the Rams, just like they didn't have a field day on the offensive side, but the defense just completely shut Baltimore down, to say the very least. Well, shut down the passing attack. I think Derrick Henry finally had a good game. Took long enough. So there was that. The Patriots, 25-19 victory. So after the Saints picked up their first win of the season against the New York Football Giants, they're unable to get a repeat of that, as Drake May had a pretty good game following up the upset win against the Bills. 261 yards, 3 touchdowns through the air. Kayshon Boutte had a heck of a good game, to say the very least, following up the good game the week prior that Kendrick Bourne had. So to say, or no, just Kayshon Boutte straight up. Actually, no, this is back-to-back good games, if I'm not mistaken. I'm confusing Kendrick Bourne with somebody else, or with another team. I think he's on Sanford, if I'm not mistaken. Right? He is? I think so. Yeah, not just good performances for Drake May all around. Demario Douglas had good yardage. Rushing attack, like the thing with the Patriots, the rushing attack needs to get better. Like Travion Henderson, not exactly the hot start for himself, like his former backfield mate in Ohio State is right now in Judkins. And Ramondre Stevenson, just what a fall from like barely over a yard per carry in the game, barely over 3 on the season. Guy had 1,000 yards a couple years ago. Not looking so hot right now. So Patriots do need to clean up a couple things, boys. But I mean, Justin thinks they're kind of in the AFC East for some reason, so they kind of showed in this game.
I don't want to talk about the Patriots. The Saints were okay. Also, they had a chance to be in this game too. They're starting to improve slightly. But yeah, I don't want to talk about this.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
We spoke enough about my disappointment and trauma as a football fan.
True. True. I was going to say, as a football fan is the key there, because just in terms of overall trauma and disappointment, there's plenty for the three of us to go in about it when it comes to life. I mean, you guys alluded to it before. Justin alluded to one of his points. The Indianapolis Colts are the best scoring team in football right now, and that is for a very good reason. And historically, the best scoring team in Colts franchise history, apparently, at least the last 25 years. Better than Peyton Manning, better than Andrew Luck. Well, if you get out of town, it's a Daniel Dimes show. Or as I called him after they won a playoff game a couple of years ago, Daniel Dollar Signs. I think that's dimes are being phased out of the American currency system. I think it's about the dollars, boys. Actually, hard cash is just also being phased out in general. We're all unfortunately going to have to pay in crypto here in the next couple of years, which I'm very not looking forward to. But 200-yard game, decent. Daniel Jones threw an interception, kind of actually rare for this season, but Jonathan Taylor more than made up for it. 123 yards and a touchdown.
Who has Siri on?
Not me. 123 yards for Jonathan Taylor in this one. Daniel Jones also got a rushing score. Tyler Warren continues to put up a pretty solid season for them. Colts defense, a little bit of a tough one, 27 points given up, but they do just enough to get the win here. Quiddy Pay, 2 sacks for him in this performance. Just all around, the Cardinals, end up making it a relatively close game. Actually, it was pretty it was a back and forth affair. I shouldn't say that, but the Colts were the ones that finished the game off with the game-winning touchdown with a couple minutes to go, and the Cardinals just could not, bite back in that one. Jacoby Brissett, respectable performance as we talked about. Would that have been different with Kyler Murray? I don't know. Do you think so? And DeMarcado, the guy who fumbled it before with Tennessee, or in the Tennessee game, only had one carry in this one. Ain't that something? Yeah, what a
it was the Bam
Bam
Knight show.
baby.
Bam Knight.
Yeah.
Bam Knight. Let's look at that one touchdown for him in this one. But no, like this kind of like a regular back and forth game between two teams, and the team that was expected to win got the win at the end. Respectable performance for Arizona. Like Rick said, Jonathan Gannon is just with a weird team right now.
Yep.
In general, it's a weird organization, weird times, and see what's happening there. Speaking of weird times, would not have predicted the Jaguars to be 4-1 going into the Week 6 game against the Seattle Seahawks, but they were. But the Seattle Seahawks got the win. Sam Darnold, pretty solid performance for himself on a day where the running attack really wasn't good all around. Only just under 60 yards rushing between Kenneth Walker III and Zach Charbonnet. But they did enough. Jackson Smith-Njigba, boys. If there was a breakout player of the year like award for the NFL, which I really think there should be, honestly, when we consider it. I know it would be really difficult because there would be so many candidates every year, but JSN is having that breakout year for himself right now. He is he is the league leading receiver in the NFL right now. He just has the unfortunate Trey McBride, prime Julio Jones effect of he gets all the yards, but he gets none of the touchdowns for himself because he only has 3 on the season. But it's been a fantastic season for JSN so far, and he came up big once again on a number of occasions for Seattle when they needed it in what was a big win to very much keep them in the division hunt in this one. What did we make of this relatively low scoring? 20-12 is a very moderate game, all things considered, but a close game between two teams that went the Seahawks' way.
Well, you said the running game was non-existent for Seattle. It's even worse for Jacksonville. ETN was stymied.
Yeah. And honestly, I got to give Trevor Lawrence credit. He didn't throw an interception. Like, this is a decent game for his standards. Dude got sacked 7 times compared to just 1 for Sam Darnold.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's interesting that this was a battle between a 3-2 team and a 4-1 team, and it kind of was like not high scoring, not high powered. There were some good plays on both sides. But boy, oh boy. That's a Marcus Lawrence had a great game, didn't he? 2 sacks in this one.
It's almost like an NFC East team could have used him.
Either him or Micah Parsons. I'm not quite sure why those 2 names are sticking out in my head. But I think this is a game that you're going to look back at as a turning point on both sides. Because, again, this keeps Seattle in the hunt for a division that is surprisingly competitive. And this loss by Jacksonville could be the reason why they're out of a playoff spot or out of the divisional hunt, because if Indy keeps winning, this was a winnable game for Jacksonville, I think, and they just didn't have enough firepower at the end to keep it going. Brian Thomas had a nice game, but Trevor Lawrence didn't have anybody else, really. There was no secondary weapons of choice there for him. I think Brenton Strange, was out for this game, too. I think he wasn't playing, I believe. So there really was no safety valve that he had. Because, again, running game non-existent, no secondary options, really. Thomas did a great game, but at the end of it's something listen for Jacksonville. But
yeah, and the offensive line just completely fell apart because you mentioned the 2 sacks for DeMarcus Lawrence. Shout out. The Seahawks have a breakout guy on both offense and defense because Byron Murphy II, 2 sacks in this one. He has 4.5 on the season after only recording half a year ago in his rookie campaign. Mm-hmm. So he's also doing pretty good for himself, to say the very least. This Seahawks team, again, this is kind of the theme for this week. Either upsets or ugly games, and this was an ugly game, to say the very least, on both sides. Whether it be the bad rushing attack for both teams, Seattle did a good job overall offensively, relatively compared to Jacksonville, but you still feel like they maybe could have had a little bit more juice on certain possessions and certain plays, but they did just enough to win. And Jacksonville, 7 sacks to Trevor Lawrence is just like, you're not going to win football games if that's going to happen to your quarterback.
Yeah. No, you forget that Cam Robinson's no longer on their team anymore, but it feels like he still is in some ways because of how many sacks they're allowing.
No, they got rid of him last year. Justin, what'd you make of this 20-12 affair before we move on?
I mean, I thought it was a solid game. Of course, my app crashes now as I'm looking at stats. Sam Darnold keeps proving that he's a solid player. the Jets gave up on him too early, and he was bound to be something good as long as he wasn't wearing green. And it's nice to have a receiver like Jackson Smith and Jigba. I was happy to see Cooper Kupp get on the stat sheet this week. He's finally starting to have some relevance there. And if I had to choose a team in this game that was going to be 4-2 and 4-2, a win in and a win loss, I would have chose Jacksonville losing. So it seems like it made sense to me.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. All right, boys, I have a riddle for you. See if you can get the answer for this one. The following player has 472 rushing yards on the season. 389 of those rushing yards have come in the past 2 games. Who is that player?
Something tells me that he has a revenge tour currently going on there, Jerg.
Indeed, some would say that he is in the title of this episode. We're finally getting to him, continuing the tradition of not hitting the episode title until like an hour and a half into the program. A whole tradition going on 2 weeks now. Dallas Cowboys had to improve the running back room. It turns out you don't improve the running back room by giving up a guy who has back-to-back 200-yard plus games from scrimmage, to say the very least. So shout out to Rico Dowdle in a couple of years when he's on a Name That Player for Justin with this back-to-back string of performances here. When Justin asks us about a late-round pick running back out of the University of South Carolina. So the Panthers were dead to rights. The fact that Dallas completely let this one up. It's they were up, like the fact that they weren't up more than what they were. It was a 10-3 game early on. Ted McMillan finally catches a freaking passing touchdown, which I was praising to the heavens for it to finally happen the last 2 or 3 weeks. The Cowboys take the lead. It's a back and forth game that really shouldn't feel like it was a back and forth game. And it was just Ted McMillan multi-touchdown game. So look at that. Finally, freaking Bryce Young and co figuring that one out. But it's like this was just a game where Dowdle just completely carved up that defense. Because the Panthers' passing attack was decent. It wasn't crazy. Ted McMillan had the 2 touchdowns, but he did it on 3 catches and 29 yards only. Tremble had 39 receiving yards. Jimmy Horn Jr. only had 36 receiving yards. You know who was the Panthers' leading receiver in this game? It was also their leading rusher. Dowdle did it on both sides. His longest run was 15. His longest reception was a catch and run of 36. And forget Bryce Young versus Dak Prescott. It was Dowdle against the Dallas Cowboys offense, and kind of kicked their butt, to say the very least. Justin, what do you think of we kind of talked about the Panthers have been a weird team, but the Cowboys now, it's just they blow out the Jets. They lose to the Panthers. They have a respectable performance against the likes of the Philadelphia Eagles. They have a weird game that they were this close to losing to the Giants. They get torched apart by Caleb Williams, and they tie with the Packers. Weird freaking team here, man. What is going on? Of course, we could talk about the Panthers, but the Cowboys, who maybe look like they could have feigned being a wild card contender, 2-3-1 is not the sign of being a true wild card contender at this moment.
And they're blessed with that tie because it unfortunately rewards the team that didn't do something. But I think that this is kind of what we expected. We expected their defense to be porous, and when they play a team that can get a stop in crunch time, they're going to lose that game. That's what happens when you lose players, stars on your defense. It's what it is. So their offense is still, plucking along. Look for them to get CeeDee Lamb back soon. They're still going to put up a lot of points. Dak is, I think, second in passing yards on the year. He had a great game. George Pickens had a great game. Thank God for Rico Dowdle, because he seems to be the savior there in Carolina that they thought Bryce Young would be. All of a sudden, he's making Bryce Young look pretty good with almost 200 yards and 3 passing touchdowns. He also had 183 rushing yards. Dude's making this team look like an offensive threat. We already knew the defense could make some stops. It's interesting to see what this 3-3 Carolina Panthers team can actually do with some decent coaching.
Dowdle signed a 1-year contract before the season with the Panthers. I think it's safe to say he may have just earned himself a decent little contract extension in Carolina here in the coming weeks.
What's interesting about it too is how quickly we forget that this is Chuba Hubbard's backfield still technically. I mean, Dowdle's playing great. Dowdle's playing great. but it is Hubbard there. It's also ironic that Dowdle basically had by himself almost 6 times the amount of rushing yards as the entirety of the Cowboys' backfield.
Yeah,
which just goes to show you there. And to your point, Justin, the Cowboys' defense not only is porous, they have no pressure on the quarterback. They sacked Bryce Young once. They made Bryce Young look like an actual respectable quarterback, which is unforgivable in this league. You can't make Bryce Young look good. And he didn't. He only threw for 199 yards. Like, come on, dude. In a game like this, I threw 350, not 199. Get your act together, Bryce Young. Kenny Clark has been abysmal. That just goes to show you that trade that they made was just atrocious. And, it doesn't get any easier for Dallas. And I think this is what happens when, look, they're getting CeeDee Lamb back this week, so maybe the offense will be better. But CeeDee Lamb's not going to solve the defensive problems. George Pickens has been playing really well in his stead. But it's not going to – you're not going to throw CeeDee out there to cover Terry McLaurin or, try and tackle Krosky Merritt in the backfield because they're playing Washington next. That's not going to help you on defense.
Well, really, when you look at it, like the offense is not the problem because like we've been questioning this Cowboys team this entire time, and they put up 40 against the Giants. They put up the 40 against the Packers. They put up 37 last week. They put up 27 this week. 27 is a respectable amount of points. Like, save for the Bears game, the offense has not been the issue. It's been the defense.
Yeah, it has been. There's a reason why they're 2-3-1 because when they don't show up is when they have their problems. And again, a lot of that I think also has to do with the fact that they have a literal gargoyle as their head coach. I do not like Brian Schottenheimer as a head coach on this team.
Clearly.
Yeah, well, I didn't like it when he was hired initially. So
Fair enough. Fun fact, as I'm attempting to do the math here, but my app wants to also dang near crash, so we'll see if we're even able to do a pick challenge here in a bit. But I mentioned Dowdle in the last 2 games has 389 rushing yards. The Cowboys over the last 3 games only have 328 rushing yards. So Dowdle by himself in the past 2 games is outperforming the Cowboys rushing attack as a whole. So it's not look great to say the very least in Dallas. So the Rico Dowdle revenge tour is looking great. May have taken this running back room away from Chuba Hubbard for all we know. Like, look, all it takes is a couple games. He has a hot streak, gets a nice little contract. I mean, the Panthers also don't have to pick and choose. They could just pay both guys. Bryce Young is going to be, like, if they choose to keep him after his rookie deal, which is a big if. Like, he's not – Bryce Young should not be paid as one of the top quarterbacks, not even a running back either. He should not be paid as a top quarterback because he's not been a top quarterback this season. Bryce Young should be getting a contract comparable to what Justin Fields got, maybe with a little bit more term because they drafted him. But that's about it. Like he's not Brock Purdy or Trevor Lawrence or even Tua at this point. Like in terms of that money.
Yeah.
Although maybe if how bad Tua's been, his agent's probably going to argue for that. That'd be interesting to say, really. The Tennessee Titans played football this week, and they didn't win again. The Vegas Raiders look like they didn't even look like Ashton Genty, 75 yards, touchdown, but only 3.3 yards per carry. Geno Smith, 174 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Like the offense wasn't special. Michael Mayer, good game. Like he's doing his best in relief of Bowers, but this just was not a special. Like the Raiders didn't really convince you of anything aside from the fact that the defense did what they needed to do. They locked down a team with a rookie quarterback.
I was off by a sack and a half.
I was going to say Max Crosby had 2 sacks in this.
If you remember, we were doing a big challenge with the text, I said he'll get 3.5 sacks in this game by himself. I was off by a sack and a half.
Indeed, to say the very least. So it was a great defensive performance by the Vegas Raiders, and I mean, even if they hadn't had the 6 sacks weren't needed, or maybe not needed as much to get this one, but they ended up getting the win. And they also ended up helping lead to another thing, because what did the Tennessee Titans do? Hired their head coach. So a week after my prediction for all gas, no breaks about head coaching firings, the first of many dominoes falls. Brian Callahan gets fired. What I mean, we're not surprised by this, but where, Justin, I'll throw it to you first. Where do the Titans go from here in terms of what the focus needs to be for the rest of this? Lost might almost be like a nice word for it, but the rest of this season.
I don't know.
It's a good question.
Go to next year, I guess.
Yeah,
I mean, let's focus on really the answer is the focus needs to go on what do we need to put Cam Ward in position to succeed, and what can we do to get this right. Obviously, we all coming into the draft. I mean, everyone liked Cam Ward. It was a clear number one in most people's minds, but I think this kind of draft leans more towards like Kenny Pickett, Malik Willis draft as opposed to like maybe one of the better quarterback drafts. Sure, Jackson Dart's doing okay, but it's early and this doesn't seem like it was the strongest quarterback draft. So it's complete mismanagement that they let this guy go into the season to begin with. We all knew this team was going to be bad. There's a reason they fired their GM going into the season. It didn't make any sense that they kept the head coach. And now they seemingly may have wasted a draft pick on a number one overall pick in a year where they could have really used a number one overall pick. So the idea is let's see what you got in this kid. Let's see what we got on this team. I feel like this is redundant every time a team is bad. But who's here next year? Because if you're not proving it now, you ain't proving it next year on my team.
Yeah, man, really? Is this just going to end up being a case of Cam Ward is going to have a Baker or Sam Darnold arc where he'll play good football, but it's just not going to be with the team that drafted him because they are nowhere near in position to help him succeed.
Yeah, they didn't give him a chance.
So I mean, the focus should just be let Cam Ward let him air it out. It feels like with Callahan they were being very conservative with him to an extent. Let's see what Cam Ward can do. Just let him free flow. Let the kid make mistakes. He's going to be the starter there.
You don't want to ruin him either. You don't want him to make too many mistakes.
That's true. But I think that there's a difference between mistakes of them not trusting him and make mistakes where it's like, okay, Cam, trust yourself. You're not going to learn to play against NFL defenses better if you only pass 10 yards ahead of you. He needs to throw a couple deep balls. Now, there is one argument against that. Who the F is on this team for him to throw those deep balls to? Maybe that's part of the reason why.
I mean, I'd be gambling on Calvin Ridley.
He's out. I think he's gonna be out for the next week or two.
Good one there, Justin. Good one there, Justin.
Yeah, I think he's only out a week or two.
I was gonna say basically it's spin the wheel of chaos, and that's who threw a touchdown pass to next. Because last game was Dante Robinson Martin. Dante Robinson was a kid in backyard baseball. Let's see what the heck is he doing playing in the NFL.
How long can we get a Pablo Sanchez?
Oh my God, please.
Look, if Travis Hunter can finally perform, if Travis Hunter can finally be a two-way player, well, then we can talk about Pablo Sanchez.
I say this kind of smarmy but I really hate being proven right when it comes to picking number one overalls.
Do you?
Because Tennessee shouldn't have taken Cam Ward. We know this. No, that wasn't the answer for them. And again, Will Levis got hurt, so that's one thing. But it's
Will Levis was the answer there.
No, but
Will Levis was the sacrificial lamb that should have been.
The thing is, Will Levis seemingly at points had the tools to be that guy, but he also seemed like he was just grossly mismanaged.
Well, that's basically the case with Cam Ward too. But I mean, I would think you would have rather had like a defensive stalwart to kind of lead them, into the next era. But let me tell you, just to answer your question, where do you go from here if you're Tennessee? Let me tell you a couple of the names that have been rumored to possibly be the next head coach of this team if Mike McCoy doesn't work out, which I don't know if he's going to work out here.
Adam Gase.
Oh no, it's on that level. Matt Nagy is a possibility. Arthur Smith is a possibility. Cliff Kingsbury is a possibility.
Baby.
The only name that I've heard that would make sense, but I don't think he wants to do it, is Eddie George. Bringing the Titans legend, but he's coaching college. And I think he wants to stay as far away as possible. He's in college. He coached Tennessee State and he's at Bowling Green.
There you go.
But like the coordinator names that they throw out there, Jesse Minter, the Chargers D coordinator, Mike Kafka for the Giants. It's slim pickings and it's not good. And it's so telling too that in the press conference that they had, I believe today, to officially talk to the media about it, the owner was home. Amy Adams Strunk has no business owning this team or running this team. I'm sorry. And it's not for the reason that you think. It's because the fact that she's just basically non-existent. You know, we crack jokes all the time about what's her name, Carly Ursay or whatever her.
Hold on, you crack jokes about her with a headset. Justin and I did not.
well, I'm
not
not the only pundit making a joke about it. What I'm saying is that we don't know, but at least she's there.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, at least she's there. You can't say that about the Tennessee Titans.
All three of Jim Irsay's daughters are like, you know, being hands-on in their own way with the team respectively.
Because that's how Irsay would have wanted it. But Adams didn't seem like he cared, and that's showing right now.
He willingly moved that team out of Houston for the stadium deal. Tennessee, like the only way at this point is like if you really want to protect Cam Ward, like if you're scared of him losing, if it's late in the season looks lost, and maybe he starts to get dinged up one too many times because this Tennessee Titans offensive line is not going to get better with age. Like, you almost kind of take a flyer on a random veteran quarterback to just kind of lead you to end the season at this point. Like, not starting now, but just like because this is the thing. This is one of the things with like when you bring in a rookie quarterback and like you really set them up to fail. There is no veteran there to help teach Cam Ward the intricacies of being a professional quarterback that he can just learn from, to watch from, even if he is the one starting games, like leading a locker room, being a voice to the guys. Like, I don't want to make this comparison for several reasons, one of which because it's really unfortunate how this guy's career ended up going out. And if it wasn't an overreach by this respective owner, I think maybe this guy would have been in a better position in his career and life in general. But Haskins with Washington, like he should have never been picked by Washington as high as he was in the first round. And I think if he had been in a more stable organization, now I know we could say this about so many different rookie quarterbacks, but I think it's like some of these guys that, like Cam Ward has the talent, I think, and he's shown himself behind the mic. I think he's very mature for his age, but I just think he needed that quarterback in front of him that could show him, teach him the ropes. Now, the problem is that you've had veteran quarterbacks in Tennessee that don't want to, teach the ropes to the youngsters. Tannehill. Like if they had found a better veteran for Ward to learn from, I'm not saying that they would magically be a 3-3 freaking team here, but I think it would at least look a little bit better for Cam Ward as an outlook for him. Like we're talking about a respectable rookie season for him rather than we're waiting for him to be dealt to his next team in 3-4 years time for the guy.
I don't think you're going to like what I have to say, Jerry.
I probably won't, so let's move on.
But I do think Russell Wilson here would have been a better option here.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. Yeah, Russell Wilson is a stopgap for the young quarterback. Yeah, why not? I'm not gonna disagree with
that. Because I feel like also the Jackson and Jameis connection was just better in New York, anyways.
Yeah, so. Genuinely for like. They signed him to a 1-year deal. Jameis is the one with the multi-year deal. I don't know why that they just don't part ways with Russell Wilson right now. Like, if you need to sit Jackson Dart, my brother in Christ, you have the most fun backup quarterback in the league. Play him.
Absolutely.
Play him. Let's move on. We talked about one player from this game more in particular earlier, but the Baker Mayfield MVP train gained some momentum because the Buccaneers defeated the Niners in this one. First off, the fact that Baker and Co got 30 points is impressive. But the Buccaneers, I think they got to Mac Jones 6 times. They picked him off twice. In a season where we talk about the Buccaneers offense and what they lost, like the Buccaneers defense, like it's still, I give him all due respect because he is playing relatively well, but old man Levante David there, like, he's not what he once was. They lost Kalijah Kancey. This is not necessarily the most impressive secondary overall in the National Football League, but they got some interceptions. Antoine Winfield Jr. continues to play like a Pro Bowl and all-pro caliber safety. And, in the absence of Kalijah Kancey, Yaya Diaby gets 2 sacks. So, like, there's that one for Tampa. Just good defense all around. Fundamental team. They're 5-1. There's a reason why I think all of us decided to give up on the Falcons hype and finally pick Tampa Bay. Oh wait, did you not? I forgot.
I was all gassed on the Falcons, dude.
Oh yeah, maybe you should have pulled the brakes. But no, yeah, Tampa Bay's 5-1 right now, and they're doing pretty good.
Let's talk about the bigger story though from this game.
Fred Warner, dude.
Because now the Niners are without Bosa and Warner. Yeah.
Justin, do you think that the San Francisco 49ers should sponsor a hospital?
I think at the very least they should be paying for a suite at every stadium so that their guys can at least attend the games.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because at this point they probably need a nice little suite.
One where hopefully Dowdle will not have the fire alarm chirping on him off to like wake him up. Because apparently he likes that to sleep. I don't know.
Dude, that poor guy. He's probably up next on the injury demon, getting the Niners.
It's like, you. But again, this is not an easy schedule for them coming out of it, and it's funny. It wasn't an easy schedule on paper, and now it's not really that easy anymore because of who you don't have on the defense.
Right. It's who you've lost. It's the Falcons' offense turned a corner in Monday Night Football. It's the Texans are really starting to turn things around for themselves. It's a Giants team that who knows how the rookie quarterback is going to play in a couple weeks' time with more confidence. And it's that rematch against the Rams. These sons of guns better not get another upset in that one. But it's not looking good. And this Niners team, you got to give them credit. Like, they start out the division 3-0. Like we talked about it for the Chargers' sake. It's a different kind of 3-0 start for San Francisco here with their division because they've lost so much. So it's tough to say at the very least. Bengals, Packers did what they were supposed to do. Late comeback attempt by the Cincinnati Bengals in the fourth quarter, but Green Bay staves it off. Defense makes some plays here and there. Offense does just enough, and they get the victory. I mean, Joe Flacco, respectable, actually, relatively speaking. Didn't throw an interception, 2 touchdowns. Understood the assignment of throwing the ball to Ja'Marr Chase. Bengals scared the Packers a little bit, but the Packers did just enough. They had a bit of a cushion in the fourth quarter to where they were able to kick a field goal with under 2 to go, went up by 9, and they just sealed it from there. So, any notes on either of these teams, predominantly more so the Packers side of things after that one?
Good defensive showing.
Yeah. And last time we saw them, they gave up the 40 to the Cowboys, so they needed to pull up with a good defensive showing, and they did so.
Good on you.
Justin, you've been, on average, the last 3 seasons, you've been higher on the Green Bay Packers than the two of us. Big win for them to come out of an early bye week for themselves. We've talked about in the past of early bye weeks versus late bye weeks. With the Packers, do you think maybe it kind of worked out for them, with a loss and a tie going into this early bye week? Maybe it's for them to recollect themselves. They had the momentum early, and now they can start to get back on that track of things here going forward, Justin.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they were also victim to a little bit of extra physicality that they didn't normally, I guess, get subjected to with some of their earlier games. I mean, that Browns game was tough on them. They played the Lions, which is always a physical game. Not to play it again. I think it was good, especially for such a young team, to get that mental break. It really depends on the circumstances of your team, honestly. If you're a veteran team and you understand how things going and you're on a roll, you might be better off benefiting from a later bye week. But for a team as young as the Packers, and with the schedule they have, I think it was good for them to say, all right, here's what we did good, here's what we did bad. Let's take a breath, let's get our bodies right, and let's go into week 7 now with some confidence. And I think that's exactly what they did. It's not like they beat up the best team in the league, but they came out and they showed, hey, this is what we're capable of. They got a solid win. They have another chance to beat a team with a losing record next week. Really solidify themselves as a top team in the league. And that tie helps. It just does.
Yeah, it's doing favors for them right now because I believe, technically speaking,
I think they're in first place.
They're leading the NFC North right now. So that tie helps them. The tie is a bump in the percentage for percentage points. So, all right. What the heck was that Sunday night game? We thought the Chiefs were reeling against the ropes at least 2 or 3 times this season, and they just keep punching back. The offense shows up. Patrick Mahomes, 3 touchdown performance for himself, 0 interceptions, has somehow vaulted himself in the MVP conversation. But the Chiefs get back to 500 on the season for the second time, I think. But they're back to 500. offense came out against the Lions. Defense also really shut Detroit down in the second. Really, it kind of started after they got the first 10 points of the game. Turnover on downs. They punted to end the first half. I don't think the Lions. Yeah, the one drive that they got because the Chiefs just chewed up the clock in the third quarter. Like the Lions weren't able to sustain a real drive there. Early touchdown in the fourth to make it look like something, but the defense immediately gives it up, and then punt, turnover on downs. Just a Detroit team that had the momentum in Kansas City just like really saw them. And I gotta say, this may have been the Chiefs' best all around game of the season so far. I know they dismantled Baltimore a couple weeks ago, but I think just for the equatable talent that was on the other side and the momentum the Lions had coming into this one, I think this was the best game we've seen the Chiefs play this season.
Well, I have a riddle for you, like you had a riddle for me earlier.
Mm-hmm.
What's one thing that I have in common with Craig Rolstad? Neither of us have a penalty flag to throw at Kansas City.
There you go.
Although one of us should have. I'll let you know who it was.
Yeah.
Craigie. 0 penalties called against them. And you're going to tell me there's no blatant favoritism?
League needs a man. What could we say?
Yeah.
No. To say the very least. Justin, I think you were the one that was really it was between you and the Podfather commenting the most last night on Monday Night Football. The Atlanta Falcons, kind of a shock win. They really jumped out against Buffalo early. Had a chance to even put more pressure on them going into the second half, but 21-7 lead at halftime was enough. Buffalo sort of had a little bit of life with a touchdown in the third quarter, but they were never able to get another score to shorten the gap there. 2 interceptions thrown by Josh Allen in this one, 4 sacks taken by him. Michael Penix just does enough. Solid game. Bijan Robinson, 170 yards. He looked like prime Derrick Henry against Buffalo right there, because this is the kind of game that a prime Derrick Henry would have pulled off against the Bills. 19 carries, 170 yards, and a touchdown. 68 yards through the air. So a couple running backs in the NFC South that had 200-plus yards from scrimmage this past weekend. Atlanta with a big-time statement victory if they want to try to keep pace with the Buccaneers in the division race, but also the wild card hunt as well. Big-time win there. And then in the second consecutive year, we get the matchup between the top 2 overall picks from the 2024 draft class. And this time it is Caleb Williams that takes victory in this one. Last year it was the Jaden Daniels miracle Hail Mary that really kind of got the ball rolling for the Commanders last season. I think that was really the turning point game for them against the Bears of last season. They're going to need a different kind of turning point after this one. They fall to 3-3. Jaden Daniels, had a relatively good game, 3 touchdowns, 1 interceptions. But it was on the other side. Caleb Williams, not necessarily outdueled him, but just did enough, didn't make too many mistakes. Has really improved as things have gone along with Ben Johnson. DeAndre Swift, looking like the guy that he did a couple seasons ago at the start of the year for Philly. 100-plus yards, great yards per carry, diced up this Commanders defense. This is just kind of a very interesting, no team. I wasn't confident even when the Bears had that 13-0 lead that they were going to firmly hold on to it. The Commanders took a lead in the fourth quarter, but then you got to give the Bears credit. They fought back and they had a fourth quarter comeback. So what a performance by them there. But 2, I think we would all agree, shocking results. So on Monday night's doubleheader, and we have another doubleheader coming up as well, what do we make of the double upset special of this past Monday Night Football, boys?
There's like that mustard.
Yeah. I've had that mustard, actually. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I prefer a sweet hot mustard myself, but Bijan's not that bad. Bears Commanders I have a real gripe with, because in my pick'em pool that I have with some friends of my in-laws, I was in a 6-way tie for first place after that game, and the tiebreaker was points. And I picked 48, and somebody else picked 49. And when Jake Moody hit that field goal, I lost that on my share of the pool money for the week.
And once you know who lost the pony.
Stuck a feather in the cap and called him macaroni. Jake Moody.
So close, so close.
Yeah.
Justin, what do you think? Statement win for the Falcons? How serious are they in the upcoming weeks?
What's their record now? They're
3-2.
3-2
with the 0-point differential.
I don't know about a statement win. it was really good. I think that game speaks more to Buffalo because now that you look at the teams that Buffalo has beat at 4-2, you start to sit there and you say, is there something to be worried about over there? I mean, really, who have they beaten? And allow me a second to bring up their record. I know they beat the Jets. And they beat the Saints.
They beat the Ravens in week 1, the Jets in week 2.
They beat the Dolphins, and they barely beat the Ravens. They got lucky at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry fumbling the ball, so they could have easily been 3-3. And the two teams with a winning record that they played outside of those teams, which I mean all have losing records, they've lost to, and they've lost to in seemingly embarrassing. So this is the kind of the more of the Buffalo team we expected last year when everyone said that they got rid of some players and we expect more of a rebuild, and they surprised everyone. Now, all of a sudden, all right, here are those flaws that we thought were coming out, and where does this team go from now? Good for the Falcons. I mean, they finally seem to have gotten their star players. This is what we've expected from a Falcons offense for a long time. Since they drafted Bijan Robinson and Drake London and Kyle Pitts, and they had all these guys, and now all of a sudden they're finally doing something with it.
Indeed. So, that being said, fantastic Week 6 recap. Upsets, ugly games, some season-turning wins, some losses that teams need to bounce back from. We'll see what Week 7 has to hold for us as we quickly make some selections for that. Welcome to this week's edition of the hashtag SAOC Pick Challenge, where the Podfather, the Games Master, and myself, the Iceman, go throughout the cavalcade of games this upcoming week of the season, and we decide what the heck kind of picks are we going to make here on a 4-to-1 point scale based off of confidence, 4 being the highest, 1 being the least amount of confidence we have, but we got to pick the game anyway. We must pick at least one upset pick with a minimum of our 2-pointer being used for it. We go in a serpentine draft order based off of the point standings of the current season, which will be updated for you all by the Podfather here in a couple of moments' time. And we go on upsets based off of lines given to us by our friends at
ESPN Bet.
There you go. And we pick outright. We're just using these lines to help us dictate who is the favorite upset going into the week, so we can all pick that upset specifically. And if we want to be so frisky, we can pick a tie, but it must be used with your first pick selection, with your 4-point pick. But as a consolation, it does get upgraded to a 5-point pick. So that being said, Podfather, give the point standings and let's get the show on the road.
2 teams on bye this week, gentlemen. And I think you could argue that both of these teams need the bye. That would be Buffalo and Baltimore. So we have 15 games this week instead of our usual 16. There was a win this week amongst us for the second week in a row, gentlemen. It was the kids. The kids did not get a point. So that being said, not only have things gotten closer, there's a new leader in the clubhouse. And it's the 2-time and defending Pick Challenge champion. Yes, Jarek, I believe, had 7 points, I want to say, for last week or something like that. So 37 points is your total for going into this one. So you have the last pick of the first round and the first pick of the second round there. Justin, tied with the entity. 5-point week for you, 34. And then I'm behind at 33. But hey.
Catching up.
We're getting there.
I think this is legitimately the closest we've ever been between the three of us this many weeks in.
I would venture to say so on that end. So, that being said, we have some very interesting games this week to select from, gentlemen. And once again, as is the case whenever this happens, somehow I'm always picking first. La-di-da for that. So, I've made it a very important point that Matt LaFleur and Nick Sirianni can, go jump off a pier. I'm not picking your teams ever again because they both failed me twice, the 4-point pick. So now the question becomes, who is going to be my potential next victim at a 4-point pick here? And if I wasn't a point behind Justin, if it was 4 or 5 points, I might be tempted to go a little upset heavy here. Kind of get things a little funky going on that end. That being said, there are 2 games that I'm looking at that are my 4-point picks, and they're both higher point spreads, and they both scare me. Something about Pete Carroll going into Kansas City with the way that defense played in the last game doesn't really jive with me that well. Yet then again, something about the Patriots, now that they're in first place against the Titans team that has Mike McCoy as a brand new head coach, I don't know. It feels a little froggy on that end.
Vrabel revenge game.
Vrabel revenge game.
Yeah.
A big time Vrabel revenge game right over there too. However, I think I'm going to spring for a 4-point upset here, gentlemen. I think I'm going to do something that I'm probably going to regret very heavily here.
Honestly, this is the season to do it. I want to sit here and talk shit, but honestly, this might be the season to do it. I have no idea what's going on.
This should be the season where one of us or more picks a tie at this point. Like, this is a wild season.
Don't you worry. We'll get there towards the end of the season. So I have a tie at some point. There's no conceivable way that they can start that way. It has to happen at some point.
I know where he's going.
It has to happen at some point.
Such a bad idea.
It has to.
I love how the 2 of us know.
Terrible.
It has to happen at some point.
Off of one of the worst losses in franchise history, traveling home from Europe. Do it.
Do it. Go ahead.
Please. Make my day.
That's what you think I'm referring to?
Yes.
No. Not at all. CJ Stroud has to win in Seattle.
Okay.
It's so misleading. So intentionally misleading.
Yes, very misleading.
I wonder what we're doing.
But no. I'm actually not picking on either of those games. I just wanted to get your reactions to that.
Your mother.
Exactly. I am taking the Patriots and their revenge game over the Titans. The revenge game. I'm taking that one. There's again the Kansas City game. Like I get it. But it just something about it just throws me for a loop there, and I'm not quite sure what it is.
The Raiders always play good games against the Chiefs.
That's what it is. I don't know, and especially it's in Kansas City. There's something about that just screams like that could be a trap game for the Chiefs.
Exactly.
But nothing about this Tennessee team has impressed me at all. So why not? Why not the Patriots go to 5-2?
It's a trap game.
So Justin will gladly take Kansas City. I think.
I will gladly take Kansas City.
Yeah, of course. It's fine. It's there. It's there for a reason. It's there for a reason.
How do I want to suffer early this week? You know what? I'm a glutton for punishment. Why not make my Thursday night worse than it's already going to be for myself? I think it's going to be the first time I'm picking a Thursday night game this season as well. So it should be fun. Give me the Pittsburgh Steelers with my 4-point pick. I think this is the highest I've ever selected the Steelers as well. I don't remember. I don't think I've ever picked them with a 4-point.
Actually, to be honest with you, I did receive a call earlier today from a friend of the show, Mike Tomlin, and he asked me why you never picked him at 4 points, and I said because he just doesn't like you. And he said, well, that's why I'm never going to join the show then. When you replace her with Boris, then I'll join the show.
In 4 years, you haven't picked the Steelers at 4 points once?
I don't remember a single time.
No.
Also, Justin, let's be honest. Have they ever deserved to be a 4-point pick? This pick is going to put you
good runs and I played some bad teams.
This pick is going to put you back in first place, knowing my life.
Oh boy!
So it's the Steelers with my 4-point pick.
That's why I play the game.
And with my 3-point pick. See, unlike last week or like the week before, where I wasn't confident in a lot of upsets, I'm actually pretty confident in a good amount of these games that could become upsets. So I want to. This sort of has the making of an upset game, but I talked about it earlier. I just think like there's too much going into it. One of these teams needs to perform way better on the offensive side of things, And this is still an all-pro caliber defense that's performing with 2 Defensive Player of the Year caliber players on it. Give me the Broncos with my 3-point pick right now. I'm picking hot with the Broncos right now, so I'm just going to ride that wave.
Interesting.
Yeah, because I'm in an unfamiliar spot. I'm not necessarily picking it, but I'd like to know what the upsets are because again, my app is wonky.
All right, so let me give that to you. That's where you have an idea. So you have it would be Jacksonville over the Rams would be an upset selection. The Dolphins over the Browns. The Jets over the Panthers.
No, we know he's not picking that.
The Saints over the Bears in Chicago. Minnesota over Philadelphia. The Colts are a 1.5-point underdog in LA against the Chargers.
That's fascinating to me.
It's quite intriguing to me. The Cardinals are an upset selection against the Packers. Dallas is a 1.5-point dog against Washington. The Falcons are giving 2.5 to San Fran. Tampa is a 5.5-point underdog in Detroit. And then Houston's a dog in Seattle, 3.5.
This is a really juicy upset-filled week.
It's a very good upset week. I'm going to take one. I'm going to take that Colts. That's got it. I would have never guessed that they were. I know it's on the road, but the first place Indianapolis Colts are looking good. They're looking healthy. The Chargers are rough with running the ball right now. I know they had a decent game. They did play a little bit of a porous run defense last week. I'll take that Colts game.
Not a bad shot.
Yeah. And I will follow suit and take an upset at 3 points as well. And I'm going to go with a hot hand on offense against the banged-up defense. I know they're traveling across the country for it, but what the heck? Give me the Falcons over the Niners.
That's my next choice.
Yeah, I think that's a real possibility there. Yeah, it's not terrible. So okay, I have a dilemma at 2. I think I know where I'm going, but I'm trying to think about if there's any kind of consternation that I would have at 1. Because I have a theory about another game that I do kind of want to make a selection on, but I'm not 100% certain on if it's the right call to make. So just bear with me a moment while I kind of sound this out in my head and think about this here.
What did you think of his 3-point selection, Justin?
Like I said, I would have taken them on the way back. I like that. I would have gone double upset this week.
I mean, technically, you still can.
I know, but not necessarily. It's not necessarily something I want to do with the teams available. I might have taken that Falcon game though.
You know what? I'm gonna spring it. I'm gonna take a real gamble here at 2 points. And I'm not playing you for the jokes this time. I'm going to take a real gamble here at 2 points because I think that the loser of this game will likely be the next team to have an interim head coach after this week rather.
Yeah.
And it's a tough one because it's a tough game, but they are a favorite. I don't know how, but they are a favorite. They're home though, so maybe that plays into it.
That's got to be it.
Give me the Browns over the Dolphins at 2 points.
Yeah, I was looking at that one too.
Because, I mean, both these offenses are banged up, right?
Yep.
But Miami's defense is not great. The Browns' defense at home could be decent enough. Yeah, I think Mike McDaniel gets fired after this game if the Browns win. Miami starting 1-6. There's no hope for him. So give me the Browns.
I'll take from one coach that Rick has been firing to another coach that Rick has been firing for a number of years. I'm going to take the Packers.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
That's fair.
Remind me what upset selections are available for me right now?
Give me a second. I will tell you. You have Jacksonville over the Rams in your London game as an upset. You have after that you got the Jets over the Panthers. The Saints. It is very true. The Saints over the Bears.
I mean, to be fair, the Jets have to win at some point. They can't go 0-17.
They can.
Yeah, no, totally.
They can.
After such a stellar performance in London,
Yeah, they
come
can.
back.
They can.
On a travel week and
Rico
play
Dowdle's going to run for 300 yards.
great running game and an excellent defense.
Yep.
This is totally the game they're going to win.
So So, as I was saying, you have the Jaguars over the Rams. You have the Jets over the Panthers. The Saints over the Bears. The Vikings over the Eagles, which is a mild upset of 1.5. And then you've got the Cowboys over the Commanders, the Bucks over the Lions, and the Texans over the Seahawks. And if I could be that voice in the head to tell you, since you were stomping so hard over this Baker Mayfield MVP push, put your money where your mouth is.
You don't tell me what to do, good sir.
You know what you are?
Yeah, you know what else I am? I'm the only two-time champion in the history of the hashtag SAOC Pick Challenge.
Yeah, but do you have a second trophy?
Not yet. It's in the mail.
Okay, all right, good.
It's in the mail.
Good.
See, I'm almost tempted to do like a little fun double upset special, but like part of my brain is like, I am 0-2 with picking against the Eagles so far this season. Do I tempt fate one more time? No, you know what? I'm gonna believe. I mean, I'm gonna be asleep by the time this game gets going because, good lord, I'm tired these days. But I'm gonna go with a fun little 2-point upset. I mean, I have to go with an upset, obviously, but I'm gonna go with the Texans over the Seahawks on Monday night, the last game of the week. I think this Texans team is starting to surge, and I heard something this week that like really once I heard it, I was intrigued by it. Like the fact that this Seahawks secondary has kind of regressed from what we thought they could have been a couple of years ago. Like Tariq Woolen has not been the same player he was since he first broke out into the league, and just overall the Seahawks like secondary, you can maybe argue is almost the weakest part of the secondary at this point. And
I don't want to talk shit about Rico Woolen, but Rico Woolen was never statistically all that great of a cornerback. He just had a ton of interceptions his rookie year.
Yeah,
that's really what it was. He's a good cornerback. He's definitely a starter, but like he was never like the cornerback.
He also got that notoriety because wasn't he the one that intercepted the Buccaneers on that trick play they tried to run to Brady?
I think so.
Yes. Yeah.
So there's that. And for my 1-point pick, but one of these two teams is going to burn me. And ironically, the two teams I'm considering right now are teams that were involved in a monumental trade a couple of years back. Oh, good heavens. Look, I mean, for all you say, I actually have a good record whenever I pick involving the Jets, but I'm going to ignore them.
I hope you picked them
this time. I'm going to go with a 1-point pick. I'm going to pick the Bears for my 1-point pick. Okay. I believe in what Ben Johnson's doing with Caleb Williams there.
It's a good pick.
All right.
Philly can't lose 3 in a row, can they?
I mean, they could. They very much could.
I'll take them.
All right.
Wait, clarify. Are you taking the Vikings or the Eagles?
I'm picking the Eagles to not lose 3 in a row.
Okay. Yeah. That's right. All right.
I have to clarify that for the people.
No, it's fair. It's fair. It's fair.
This 1-point selection is a little difficult because I'm torn between two. I'm going to tell you what I'm not picking. I'm not picking Jets Panthers. I'm not picking Lions Bucks.
I'm not surprised.
So then my question is, do I go with the early game on Sunday, or do I go with the divisional game that I think I have a better shot of winning? Because I don't necessarily – I feel like the Jags play a lot better in London than everyone gives them credit for.
I mean, that's essentially their home.
They
their second home.
It is.
The Rams are a very good football team, but they're not seemingly the best in any category.
That's also
good overall.
And that's also a bear of a travel. I mean, they're probably over there now, but from LA to London, that's a real bear of a travel right there. All right. Oh, you know what? Give me the divisional matchup. Give me Washington over Dallas at 1. I was expecting big things from Krosky Merritt in this game. I think it'll be really good. And then the kids are actually going south this week. They're taking Tampa at 3 in the upset over Detroit, because part of this is, I think, putting Jerk's money where his mouth is. And then Carolina jets over at 2 because why not? And then they're gonna pick the 1-point upset of Jacksonville over the Rams for that same reason I was talking about, because I feel like it's a home game for Jacksonville anyways, even though it's not at Fulham where Tony Khan will have a terrible time. All right, so we go at Jerg's 4 points Pittsburgh, 3-point Denver, 2-point Houston in an upset, 1-point Chicago. Justin goes Kansas City at 4, Indy at 3, the upset special, Green Bay at 2, Philly at 1. The kids are Tampa, Carolina, Jacksonville. There's the 3 and a 1-point upset. I go New England, Atlanta, upset at 3, Cleveland at 2. I was tempted to go Rams, but I talked myself out of it. And Washington at 1. So there we are.
What a beautiful way to end this week's #SAOC Pick Challenge. Should be a very interesting and fun Week 7 to say the very least. And with that being said, if you're a veteran of the show, you know what happens when all 3 of us are back together. I mean, usually when at least one of us is here, this happens to begin with. But ladies and gentlemen, let's end off the program, per usual. Podfather, take us home with a nice, good old-fashioned rantin' rostrum podium.
I gotta be honest with you. I'm not really feeling it today. I turned 34 on Thursday, so I had to kind of look at like my life and figure it out a little bit, and I'm like, I guess life's okay. I mean, the government shut down, which is not great for a lot of different people.
There you go. That's 3.
ESPN seems to forget that there are other conferences aside from the SEC and the Big Ten.
There's number 2.
There's all of that. And honorable mention, of course, the Dallas Cowboys, because they're just terrible in life. And I guess if I had to go for number 1, it would be the idea of hiring managers or head coaches in New York named Aaron, because Aaron Boone's a train wreck, and clearly Aaron Glenn's not the answer. Aaron Carter's dead, so you can't hire him anyways, I suppose.
Jesus.
Aaron Burr killed Alexander Hamilton, so that doesn't really help you out at all. And then, I don't know. Is Aaron Spelling's not really a great, producer or director, I guess, of TV? Maybe just the name Aaron in general is just a big problem, I think. I don't know. Whether Aaron Heilman's the worst. God, I hated him. He's my least favorite bet of all time. 2006, Aaron Heilman was just... He gave up a home run in the LCS Game 7, and it tore my life apart for 9 years until he got back to the World Series. So screw Aaron Heilman forever. Aaron from the Bible's okay, I suppose. I don't really, have anything bad to say about Aaron from the Bible.
So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on this week's edition of the Sports Agents of Chaos podcast. Except if your first name is Aaron, apparently, then Rick is going to have some sort of vendetta against you. Thank you for joining us.
Aaron Sanchez is not a great chef.
Thank you for joining us. Fantastic week of all gas, no breaks. Fantastic analysis of this week 6 going into week 7. The pick challenge was fantastic. We'll see who takes the lead or maintains the lead.
The only good Aaron is Hank Aaron, I suppose.
And when we have the return of the roast podium next week, we'll see if we'll leave the Aarons off as we can leave them alone for the time being. So thank you all so much. Justin and I will include you if your name is Aaron. Thank you to all the Aarons and all the other non-Aarons who are joining us on a weekly basis. Thank you so much for joining us on another edition of Fun Football and Chaos. And we will see you guys. We will see you guys next time. Take care, everyone.
Aaron Rodgers.
And bye-bye.
Oh, God. I forgot about Aaron Rodgers.
And there's the show. God. Take care, beautiful people.